Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
And Sean Bell.
Hello.
No James Farley again this week. He's taken another week off. So it's just the three of us.
We need to just tell everyone it's happened. He's finally...
No, let's hold that little bit of information back. You know, to the point where we finally announce it on the show and people go, "Who's James? Who's this? Who are they? Who's it? Who?" Do you know what I mean?
Well, just let people forget about him, so they're not really sad.
I thought, do you know what? Right, when he said he couldn't make it again this week, I instantly thought, oh God, this is going to be another one of those, isn't it? Where we all just lean back, don't care. Do you remember what happened last week? It went off the rails far too much.
I thought it was good.
Strap in, listeners.
I'm bored of video games. Let's talk about...
I do miss James, though. I miss having him about.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not on next week. So that's 3 weeks of not having James to have a laugh and a joke with. The
lesson I'm learning here is that actually all four of us don't need to be here every week.
That's not what I'm learning. I want us all to be here every week. I hate it when someone's off.
My think is that
I'm having a think right now.
My think is that what if James isn't here next week?
Oh God, yeah.
Well, it's
fucking better be.
Yeah.
I would say James if you're listening to this, but he's fucking not. He's already admitted he hasn't fully listened to last week's.
Well, the thing that worries me the most is that James went on last week. He's not on this week. I'm not on next week. Yeah. The week after, I'm going to be so excited to talk to James that I'm going to be unbearable for him. You know what I mean? I'm going to be like a kid at Christmas. Oh, James! Oh. I can't wait. It's going to be a good one. We would like to start the show by saying thank you to our Patreon producers this month. They are Aaron Patrick, Simon Nelson, Tom S., Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Richard Sawyer, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gazman, and Rob Netzband Pigott. Thank you so much for going full Nels and supporting us on Patreon. I got to admit, I was looking down that list of names today and I come up with a couple of songs. Obviously, the obvious one is I'm a Gazman. So I was singing that while I was doing the washing up. But I also thought this. I was also doing this for the second half of the washing up, Sean. I was going... Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Colin Brown, Colin Brown, Colin Brown. Na-na-na-na-na. And then I was in two minds whether to do that on the show because I thought the others would get jealous.
I don't think I know that song. What is it?
What? What's the actual lyrics, Matt? Baby, turn it up, baby.
I just hear that football chants. That's all I know it as really more of that.
Yeah, it's a football chant one.
Dave, are you going to give us a song where you've crowbarred in Rob Netzband Pigott into the lyrics?
I reckon I can.
Go on.
I reckon I can. Next week, that's my challenge.
No, now.
You can't do that on the spot. That's
Netzband Pigott. Yeah, no, I can't do that on the spot. Who the fuck are you?
Rob Netzband Pigott. I mean, you can do that same song, couldn't you?
That's not bad. No, that's
yes, it is. It's the wrong number of syllables.
Wow,
you had to make pit into two syllables.
Rob Netzband Pigott.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
I'll work on it. Who knows? Might come to me by the end of the show.
Please.
Assuming are they Robert or Robin? You could do Robert Netzband Pigott. No, that doesn't work either. Fuck.
Oh God. Okay.
Right, listen. Thank you so much for supporting us. It really does help. I mean, we do put a lot of the money that we receive back into the show. I mean, I don't know what it will be like if in 2 weeks' time we're still talking about Xbox One and PS4 games. The irony being that even though we're getting the new consoles, we probably still will be talking about Xbox One and PS4 games because that's all that's out. But yeah, no, seriously, all the support that you give us on Patreon is great. If you go to patreon.com/TCGS, you can sign up at different tiers for bonus podcasts, live watch over. Oh my God, we got to do the bonus podcast soon, haven't we? It's November.
Yeah.
We got to do that soon. And that's James watching Up and Wally and Coco. I don't think he's watched Coco yet, but oh my God, I can't wait to hear how he injects his own cynicism into what is the most delightful films of all time.
I think he'll have been unmoved by Up purely because I think it's be too real for him because he's getting on a bit, and I think he'll have just shut down. I think he'll just be like, no, I'm not having this. I'm not opening up to this. I'm not doing it.
Harsh.
Yeah, I can imagine now saying, yeah, it's all right. It's just like balloons and that.
Just refuse to engage with
a house and dog and that, innit?
Yeah.
Scouts.
I like the bit where the house went up, like in the title.
Yeah, the house went up. There's a dog in that, so whatever.
I thought it was a clever reference to the name of the film.
Yeah, that's probably what I named it after, because house went up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's get on to feedback, Matt. They'll love it, did they? Last week? They'll love it.
Absolutely.
Good.
Well,
good.
TCGS.corrections. If there is a top level domain of .correction, someone needs to nab that right now.
Yeah.
On a recent,
worth money.
On a recent stream, Matt mentioned that he enjoyed streaming From Software games. This is incorrect, as Matt has never enjoyed any of the games he has streamed. He'll protest this fact, but he's not being truthful.
Right, now, if it wasn't...
It's true.
If it wasn't for the fact that he has left us other feedback, I'd say this has Colin Ross Wilson written all over it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This reeks of Colin Ross Wilson.
I would say that even though he has left other feedback, it's pretty conclusive.
He doesn't strike me as the type to hide behind a fake name, that's all, but...
That's true. That's very true. He
even gives his middle name in his Twitter handle and on Discord, so...
And if you catch him on Twitter, he just gives out his address and mobile number constantly. It's strange.
Because I realised I do somewhere, I think I do have his address.
Okay, all right, Sean.
But he's never given out publicly.
Can you just confirm, just for legal reasons, that wasn't a threat?
It wasn't a threat.
Okay, cool. That sounded like bullshit.
He was one of the lucky recipients of the Midnight Resistance soda that no one liked.
Hang on, but Sean, but obviously he didn't keep it because of GDPR.
Well, this was pre-GDPR, wasn't it? So no.
That's not how it works, Sean.
Listen, it was never like a
that's not how it works, Sean.
Thing, yeah, it's fine.
I'm going to talk.
Have you got a little address book in your house and you went, well, none of these have consented to this now. Sorry, Mum.
Yes, I burned every one of them, and I got them to confirm I was allowed to keep their details.
Do you remember when Zuckerberg had to answer all those questions? That's what Sean sounds like now. Well, no, this is before GDPR. Actually, we could get. Well, I'm pretty sure we're. Okay, right. Yeah. What about the address book? Anyway, back to the original point being made. Totally agree with it.
Bollocks.
Matt's never enjoyed a game that he's streamed.
Well, that's
Name one game that you've enjoyed. Go on.
Well, most of them, just because I might get angry or annoyed at points. The From games, I still miss them every day. You
constantly looked upset while you were playing.
That's my concentrating face. Seriously, that's just my face. I can't change that.
Well, practically crying.
Well, yeah, I've had it work constantly. People saying, "You all right, Matt?" I'm like, I'm just looking at things. I'm just thinking.
Didn't you quite enjoyed Alex Kidd? Didn't you? Of all the games you streamed,
I've enjoyed. Let's think of games I hated. I mean, Metroid.
Don't go
obviously, because the controls are wank.
Fuck's sake.
I mean, obviously, I've had low points and great points with the From Software games, obviously, but I've got through them and I've ultimately really appreciated and loved them, and I can't wait to try Demon's Souls.
Okay.
I'm not Mario at the moment. Whoever we're in is talking bollocks.
Next.
We might as well get back onto Colin Ross Wilson. Not that the first one was Colin Ross Wilson, of course, but let's read this totally unrelated feedback from not the same person at all anyway. Colin Ross Wilson. Dear TCGS Co. It's not what we call Colin, you know that. I have a weed complaint, and it's a personal one, and it's about Matt. It's not something I usually do unless it's a daft joke, but for some reason, this one has irked me a little. I do not leave feedback or ask questions often. However, when I've done so, I've ended it in a specific way for a specific reason. A while ago on the pod, well over a year ago, David said that every now and then he would like someone to write in and just say, appreciate y'all, for no reason other than just to say it, because he likes it.
That's good.
I do like it too. So for that reason, I've ended every piece of feedback with, appreciate y'all. Matt has never read this out ever. So, appreciate y'all, and I expect an apology from Matt. Thank you.
Cheers, Colin. That does cheer me up. That genuinely cheers me up every time I hear appreciate y'all. It's from a YouTube video. I just love it, and just hearing that just it puts a smile on. Why don't you read that out?
I mean, I'm trying to recall the last bit of, decent feedback from Colin. I mean,
Matt, no, let's not turn this around. Address the point to start with. Why don't you read the appreciate y'all bit out?
I often, for every bit of correspondence, cut out the last bit because it's always
that last bit, that feels like a personal attack, mate. Last bit cheers me right up.
I probably just tightened up a bit. If I said it, I probably looked at it and thought, nah.
Vicious. I mean, I've said it before, Colin, right? The guys that I do this podcast with are very bitter. They're bitter. And, and this is just another piece of evidence to support that fact. They're very bitter.
Well, I'm trying to tighten the show up. Just because I haven't got time for appreciate y'all, which I like as well. I like appreciate y'all.
If you're trying to tighten the show up, Matt, maybe keep the bits at the end down to about 5 minutes. That would tighten it up a little bit, wouldn't it?
Well, it depends, David. Do you like money?
Is that how we earn money, is it?
I won't mention Twitch. I won't mention Patreon. And forget your money. It's between me and Sean.
Audience don't just turn off at that point, though. Is that not what you're thinking? All right, okay, go on.
I mean, we could do a study where we don't mention anything, and then we'll see what numbers look like after a while. And then,
we basically did have to do that, didn't we? I mean, it's already been worse since we had to move all that stuff to the end.
Yeah.
So, what do you mean? It's been worse.
Yeah. Because we used to do all the Twitch stuff at the start, and I'm pretty sure we had more subs then.
Yeah, God. When you say it's been worse, what do you mean?
I mean, we've been getting less money, Dave. That's what I'm getting.
No, we haven't, have we?
From the Twitch
stuff. Have you been cutting Sean out? Oh, Twitch, come on. We've been getting less money because the content's been shit. I haven't streamed for a while. Actually, okay. I can't even hold a straight face saying that this week because Matt absolutely smashed it. Yes. But I'm sure we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So I can't even hold that character there. I couldn't do it. I couldn't follow through with it. Go on, next bit of feedback, Matt.
Ryan, hey guys, in your recent episode, you started talking about football. Matt saying he loves it and hates it, etc. I love it when you guys throw in. Is this a question there? It's not. I thought it was a question there. I didn't do the feedback. Sorry. Anyway, I love it when you guys throw in a bit of football talk. Rare, but I love it nonetheless. Made me think you should do a one-off episode about football, maybe for Patreon or whatever. I'd love to hear you guys chat about your other love. Start with the news, then what game you watched, and then everyone's favourite football questions. I know there are football podcasts out there, but fuck those guys. You'll be better. P.S. Sean, you can take the night off or play an indie game or whatever. Big fan, Sean.
Cheers.
A football podcast with us three will be absolutely horrific.
Yeah,
it would be
very
awful.
Opposing. There would be no discussion.
We are totally opposing. We're free complete. Well, actually,
isn't that surely that would make it good? What am I?
No, we're very different types of fans to the point where if Matt gave an opinion on football, I'd be furious about it.
And that happens on the normal show.
I love football, and Dave doesn't. He just loves Millwall. I love all types of football.
The difference is, Sean, I've dedicated my life to going to football and watching football. Matt watches Sky Sports a couple of times and thinks he knows about it. You know what I mean? That's the difference.
It
will be an hour of that. It will be an hour of that.
So it's not like one of you's a Sony fan and one's a Microsoft fan. It's like one's an esports fanatic and one's an indie game aficionado.
No, one likes to play the game and one likes to watch it on Twitch. That's the analogy there.
Okay.
That's the analogy there, Sean.
Well, I don't think that's
thoughts? Fair. No? Do you not? What's that?
I mean, I don't get to go to... I mean, I've barely been to, Palace in years, sadly. But, if I get a chance to go football, I love it. Went to San Siro a couple of years ago. Had tickets for Euros this year. That obviously fell through. So on and so forth.
Okay, sure.
Just haven't been to Sellers for a while. But, also I don't live next door, so it's also a bit tougher, innit? And,
okay.
You make the effort, wouldn't you? You make the effort if you cared.
Well, I do care. I mean, I watch football every week on TV, listen to it on the radio, listen to all the football podcasts, read about it. Just don't get to go to actually the football game.
Different type of
makes
fan.
Me less of a fan.
Different type of fan. Sure.
And then we'll have James, who will be complaining because the owner's got 500 billion in the bank, hasn't bought the right defender.
Yeah, James cracks me up and he'll hate me for saying this. But James, he's a Chelsea fan and Chelsea are, they're a big club. But when they're playing like a championship team in the cup or something, he'll go, we'll lose this. And he'll go, oh, you don't understand it, Dave. We're going through troubles. And I'm like, one of your players is worth the whole of their team. It doesn't matter what troubles you're going through. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. But then we argue about that. So it wouldn't be very good listen, is what I'm saying.
It wouldn't work.
I mean, I've enjoyed this So I think we'd be all right. It'd be good. Just for one episode. I mean,
well, that makes
probably
one
still
of us
won't listen to it, but you know.
Fair enough. Cool. Next,
6 Squid Games. Christmas with Mr. Bell and Mr. Farley. Who cares about a gaming advent calendar when you have a promising TCGS Co. Christmas panto on your hands with top-notch falsetto work with Mr. Farley? Mr. Bell's rendition of the Riddler sounded like Edmund Blackadder in Series 1. I'd say you have a great deal of acting talent just waiting for a platform. I would be more than happy to scout some car parks for you, which could double as a social distance compliant stage. Alternatively, I do know people at the Lost Property Office on London's Pelham Street that could be persuaded to share their display window with you all. I don't have costumes, but I'm sure we could check some cosplay videos for inspiration, and I'll be glad to lend a sewing hand. Just let me know. Keep up the hilarious work in the meantime.
I mean, obviously, James isn't here to agree with me, but I think that's a fantastic idea and we should do it.
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, if one of us isn't up for it, then we won't do it. So, I mean, there's only 3 of us here, so we can only vote with it. Are you up for it, Matt?
Definitely, yeah.
Sean?
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm up for it as well. Oh, James isn't here to cast his vote. Okay, well, 100% of the votes on this podcast. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll get that sorted.
Yep. I mean, I'd love to do Christmas play would be brilliant.
Could James play? Could that be the
Ebenezer Screws?
Could that be the live show for 10?
What? Ebenezer Screws?
Yeah, I meant Scrooge. It came out wrong.
Could this be the live show for $10 patrons in December? Because I think that would be.
Oh my god! Yes, and we should record it like a Christmas play, like in infant school.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to be in the same room though, Matt.
Yeah, we'll do something with green screen.
I mean, it will be shit, obviously, but as long as we sort of make that the joke, I think we'll be fine.
We could do a nativity. Is that what you suggested? We'll do a nativity play for the talks over in December.
We said panto.
Let's not overpromise and underdeliver. Let's plan this.
Okay.
Well, if we never mention it again, it's because we all agreed it was just a terrible idea, and you're better off. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, no. If it didn't happen, it's because I realised I couldn't make it as good as
as it is in your head right now.
And so therefore, what's the point?
Yeah.
Fair.
Oh. I could buy a slow motion camera and all sorts. No, that's not Bob. Luke Watts. What David's saying about. Oh, I didn't really want to talk about this fucking Genshin Impact stuff again. Maybe.
Why?
I just can't. Well, I've got nothing else to say about it. And okay, I'll read this email. Luke Watts. What Dave is saying about the issues of sexualization in young girls in Japanese games is more of an issue within Japanese culture in general. I visited in 2018, and the country is incredible. The food, nature, people, hospitality is all second to none, and I will go back there as often as I can. But the sexualization of young girls is all over the place there, and it was one aspect of Japan I'll never quite get my head around. Just look up maid cafes if you want to know a bit more. You're totally right with that. Cultural differences is no excuse. This is one aspect of Japanese culture where I believe they will be forced to confront it in the future, especially if it becomes more popular as a holiday destination.
Okay. There was another one on this, wasn't there? Next bit of feedback.
Yes, there is. So yeah, Reese. I'm 100% with Dave in his anger about depictions of children in video games. As someone who has worked in the field of CSE, I have seen strong links between the consumption of media like this and the degradation towards search histories and downloads of a similar nature. I think there's very little room to shrug it off and just say, it didn't bother me, it's a culture thing. That danger is that a lot of people are genuinely getting sexual gratification from the images or the idea of images of children. Let's not skirt around that fact. I have no idea of any excuse for this apart from the fact they want to appeal to those who will get gratification. There are fixes that can be done, such as more coverage of clothing of distinct ages of characters, but then there are animes that state characters are 150 years old despite looking like a child as a reason to depict them in skimpy clothing. These may seem like tiny issues as it's just a video game, but there should be some attention paid to the impressionability of those who might consume these images, and what we want them to learn is right and wrong. It's fine to get your rocks off to a drawing, but for those who are still learning about the world and sexuality from video games, it is a slippery slope.
What I will say in response to this is we have received feedback in different places that disagree with me and my point of view of this. And I think what's important is that, I know you say you don't want to talk about it, Matt, but I think these sort of subjects should be talked about, and it's not necessarily saying we're right or wrong, but opening up a discussion and talking about it is a way to try and wrap. I mean, for me, it's a way for me to try and wrap my head around a situation and my feelings and thoughts and reactions to things. Is it an emotional reaction or is it a legitimate concern? Should I be concerned? My stance hasn't changed reading everyone's feedback, but it's been good to see people talking about it a little bit.
It's been interesting because obviously, like, I think the reason it wrong-footed me when you brought it up was just that. Because to me, like, Genshin Impact is nowhere near like the worst offender, so it seemed like to me it seemed like a strange thing to pick up Genshin Impact on. However, maybe that just speaks to the fact that because I've seen more anime, more Japanese games and stuff, I'm just sort of desensitized to it. And like there was a really good discussion about it in the Discord and stuff. So yeah, I think it's been a conversation well worth having, I think. And
it's a fucking tough conversation to have. It is. Because people are enjoying that game and not for these reasons.
Yeah.
You know, as you say, people, you know, either don't recognise it or don't see it as a problem. Or don't see it as a problem to the level that I do.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that those people are wrong and should be ashamed of themselves or anything like that. And that's not to say that I'm right and I'm looking down on anyone. It's an open discussion, and I feel, you know, some of the subjects we've covered in the past, as we've said before, we've misstepped and we've misspoke and we've made mistakes and we've learned. And people feel free to email in and tell us where we're going wrong or offer their point of view for us to consider and stuff. I think it is important to talk about these things, whether or not they're comfortable to talk about. Or, you know, it's a tricky subject. So it's been interesting reading those emails. And it's been interesting reading the discussions on our Discord. I mean, we don't have to go back to it every week
because my view is just that I wasn't bothered. I had just no emotional reaction to it whatsoever. So that made me feel like I was in the wrong, even though I was just being honest about how it made me feel, because I just saw it and just thought, well, you know.
Exactly, because obviously child safety is such an emotive issue. Like, you don't want to be the one to be like, oh, well, I think you've overblown this or whatever, because of how sensitive the subject is. Do you know what I mean?
I do think it's easier, and I'm, you know, this is a reflection on my reaction to it as well. It's easier to bring up these subjects on a game that you're not playing and you're viewing from the outside than it is to one that you are and that you're enjoying. Because there is a part of you that's enjoying it and thinking, I don't want to think about the bad stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so naturally, I think people will get defensive. I'm not saying that that's what's happening to everyone that's playing this, because I don't think it is, and I think some of the points raised in the Discord were fair. But I mean, I've said my piece. It's been interesting reading the discussion, and getting the feedback has been interesting too. So, I hope people listening understand that, you know, that's where we're coming from, and I'd never want us to come across as a real preachy show, although we do in certain subjects because we're passionate about them. But yeah, that's where I stand anyway.
Yeah, and just shout out again to everyone on the Discord who discussed this, because, as I say, obviously incredibly emotive and sensitive issue, and there were people on both sides, and I don't think anyone fell out, so that was really nice to see.
That is it for feedback. If you want to leave us feedback, it's just go to tcgs.co/deartcgs.
News. We're not going to do the obvious joke, Sean. Let's get to it, mate. Come on. Let's have your news.
Nintendo did another one of their partner directs, which have mostly been a bit underwhelming. I thought this one was okay.
Do you know what, Sean? I didn't even see this. I didn't even watch it. No, I don't know why. I think it came out at a time where I couldn't watch it, and then I just never went back to it. So I have no idea what they've announced other than this Control thing.
So I mean, the main takeaways are that, so we're got a cloud-based version of Control on the Switch, and we're also getting a cloud version of Hitman 3.
Okay.
I mean, it's not worth talking about what you've been playing, but I'll just say so you can download Control for free. Obviously, you're not downloading the game; you're just downloading a client that then serves you the stream of the game via the cloud. I was really fucking impressed by this, and I've been quite underwhelmed by a lot of like cloud-based gaming stuff. I thought this was like basically perfect. Has anyone else tried it?
Yes. No, I haven't. No. I wanted to, but didn't go around to it.
I have tried it 4 or 5 times, and each time it said, the servers are full, baby.
Oh, really?
You close the app. yeah, and I was kind of like, oh my, no. Like, there wasn't even a warning saying the servers are full, but if you buy the game, you will always have a dedicated server, whatever.
Well, this is it, isn't it? It's awkward. I imagine obviously, like, totally get them offering a demo, because obviously depending on your connection or your Wi-Fi, whatever, your mileage is going to vary, and it's right to offer people that trial
100%,
before they pay any money. But equally, that just then means there's loads of freeloaders like me just loading it up for 10 minutes. They're going, oh fuck, this is great, but I've already got it on PS4, so no worries.
There was 2. So basically, if you don't know that, you download the app, the Control app, or it just appears like a normal game. You download that for free. Then you open the client, and it says, "Do you want to buy it or do you want to try it?" So you can just launch straight into a game. What I found really surprising was that it was offering performance mode or resolution mode. And I kind of thought, on the Switch, that doesn't really make sense, because the resolution's quite low. Like, the output resolution on TV.
Well, is it the resolution, or I think, doesn't it just say like higher?
Oh, is it just better graphics?
Yeah, so it enables all the RTX shit.
Yeah, it's like ray tracing on the Switch.
Did it really? It has ray tracing on there.
So it's technically, in some ways, looks better than the other console versions.
Oh wow, okay. But yeah, I mean, when it comes up with a big message saying you can't play this right now, the servers are full.
Yeah,
I just kind of thought, that's not good for a demo. Like, that's not making me want to go get it. Because what if I buy it and it's the same deal?
But then would it seem cynical if it popped up saying like, oh, but if you buy it, you've got like a reserved slot? Or, do you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
No, I don't think so. I mean, that's kind of
you can't play a free demo, but pay the money.
Yeah, but then you would expect, like, surely that's showing that, okay, the servers are full, but it's letting them know that when you own the game, the servers ain't going to be full. And who knows? You might buy the game and it still says the servers are full. I don't know I don't know anyone that's bought that thing on the Switch. But I was kind of like, I wouldn't want to pay for this game to be told that I can't access it when I want.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, if a game like Control works perfectly well with it, then Hitman 3 would be great as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, sure.
So that's exciting. I mean, and
it's slower paced, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously it's fascinating, because if you'd offered me this a year ago, I wouldn't have been interested. I think we've had like cloud-based games on the Switch before, right? I can't remember what they were.
Oh, the Assassin's Creed was one.
Was it Assassin's Creed? Yeah.
Like a Resident Evil 7.
But of course, I'm not leaving the house at the moment, so cloud-based games on the Switch is basically fine for now. So that was interesting. They also confirmed. So I think on the day they released Switch versions of No More Heroes 1 and 2. I've never been massively into these, but I know they have a keen fan base. Either of you asked?
Nah. I mean, I heard this was more of like a surprise, because obviously we knew the third one was coming. So I bet for fans, I was like, oh, pretty cool, the first 2 are available. But I haven't played them, and I have no real interest in doing so. But I'm sure if you love the first 2, it must be a great little surprise for the first 2.
I mean, definitely. I remember the first one coming out, and just the tone of it was just unbelievable at the time. It was just so unbelievably weird. I just don't recall actually enjoying playing it that much. What else did we get? Oh, so the Switch is getting a port of Part-Time UFO, which is a HAL Laboratories game that has been on smartphones for 2-3 years, but it's very good, and the Switch version has like a co-op mode. And then what else? Oh yeah, so we got a demo of Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity.
Are either of you excited about that? Because
100%, mate.
Sean, right?
It's fucking great. I mean, we'll get onto it later, but
okay,
it's proper good. I mean, Dave, you're a secret Dynasty Warriors guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I was. I mean, I quite like Hyrule. Maybe I will play it at some point, but it's not something that I'm looking forward to be quite honest with you.
Fucking unbelievable.
Well, I mean, you feel that you playing them once every 5 years is enough for me.
Well, how long's it been? They haven't released a good one for about 5 years now, so that's...
Yeah, but I didn't play it on launch, the last one.
Okay.
It was more recent than that. So
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'll leave it 2 more years, 3 months, and 26 days, and then I will be ready to play another Hyrule Warriors game.
Fair enough. Bravely Default 2, which I've been quite excited about. It's been pushed back to next year, which, fine, although it does mean, like, the demo for it was out in, like, March or April this year, and the full game isn't out until February next year, which is quite weird. But
I'm also not surprised. I'm surprised we haven't heard more Switch delays.
Well, yeah, I'm still waiting for a release date for New Hollow Knight, but because that's supposedly 2020, but
that won't be out this year.
Yeah,
no way.
We are running out of 2020.
I haven't played them games, but to me, it seems like it's a big enough game that there wouldn't be. It's like it's out today. Or am I wrong in that?
I don't know, because I agree, but then they've done it with other indie stuff like Spiritfarer. Was quite a big deal.
Spiritfarer's like a new IP. Like everyone loved. True. Everyone loved, the first. What's it called again?
Hollow Knight.
Yeah, everyone loved the first one. So, and maybe it's just because you guys all loved it, and I've heard so much good things about it that in my head it's built up bigger than it is. But I still feel like that'd be like, this coming out in March and getting people excited for the release date, not just it's out now after a direct. I don't
know. Yeah. What else? Oh yeah, so Griftlands is coming to Nintendo Switch. This is one I've been excited about. It's a new game from Clay Entertainment of Don't Starve fame and a bunch of other stuff. But it's not out until like summer next year. It's already out on PC, admittedly in early access. But it's already had loads of really good feedback. So I would love a Switch version of it, but I don't know if I'm going to wait like 7 months for it. Probably.
Do you think you're gonna? Have you bought the early access one? Are you gonna play?
I haven't
on PC
yet, but I've been weighing it up. So I'm probably just gonna get it on PC, to be honest.
And then, as with all things, rebuy on Switch.
Well, maybe not, because we do. Like, again, now that I'm in the house all the time, I'm having a really good time playing loads of PC stuff on my iPad via Steam Link. So
yeah, fine. Don't need your Switch.
Yeah, fuck it. Shit. Console. That was pretty much it. There's a new Story of Seasons game, but I know that was like, Harvest Moon like completely went to shit, and then the people who originally made Harvest Moon started doing Story of Seasons. But even the Story of Seasons games now look incredibly old-fashioned to me. Now that garden simulators, farming simulators, whatever, are just they're all pixels and that. It looks rubbish, mate. No ray tracing. What's the fucking point?
Honestly, what is the fucking point, to be quite honest with you?
What is the fucking point if there's no ray tracing? I'm not convinced that light is bouncing off surfaces into my eyes.
We get it. Go on.
That's now quite a saturated genre, and from what I've seen of this one, it doesn't look like it's keeping up. It looks like a very old Harvest Moon game to me, but whatever. That was it.
I think they also said that was the last one, was it, of the year?
Oh, that's right. Right. Oh, yes.
It was the final.
We weren't really expecting any more.
But they said explicitly it was the final third-party showcase of the year.
Okay.
It didn't say it's the last direct.
So what could they show if they were doing a first-party one, though, before the end of the year? You've got obviously 3D World. That's coming at March, is it?
That's March, yeah.
No, February. February.
Oh, February 21st, yeah.
Yeah. So what else? That's what we got. That's the only first-party game in the works at the moment, or that we know about.
There's Breath of the Wild 2.
Metroid.
Whatever's happening with Metroid, but I think that's going to be a way off being shown, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's it. No other first-party Nintendo games now until February.
Correct. Because they've just released Pikmin, haven't they?
They'll be working on a Mario, won't they? They will be working on a new Mario, you would imagine. But,
obviously they're working on stuff, but stuff that we're going to have in the short term.
Well, yeah, 2021's looking bare, isn't it?
Well, you would assume that if they're launching a new console next year, they will want some games to go along with that.
True, yeah, maybe it's all under wraps. Until we're doing the thing of being like, oh, there's no games for Switch. the Switch has not thrived on first party stuff for me at all. It's just been the best place for indie stuff. So
no, it's been crazy, isn't it? It's been great. It's been amazing indie game after amazing indie game, and then one of the best. Like they release an absolutely incredible first party game like a couple of times a year. So
that's sort of worked weirdly.
It has.
The weird thing about new Switch consoles, they could. I mean, obviously, Breath of the Wild 2 will come, and that'll be an amazing launch title, and it'll be like 2017 all over again, or whenever the Switch came out. They could just release the new Switch with Breath of the Wild 2 and an update in Mario Kart, and it'll still do absolutely ridiculous numbers.
There's no way they can do an updated version of Mario Kart. There's no way.
Yes, of course they can. It's Nintendo.
No fucking way can they release the same Mario Kart 3 times, twice on one system. There's no way that they're getting away with it.
If they added,
and people would lap it up.
What if they added more tracks?
Do you want to bet?
No.
Oh, no.
You honestly think they're going to release a Mario Kart 8 with a newer version of the Switch?
I mean, I didn't say Mario Kart 8. I just said like a...
You said an updated version of the...
I said an updated Mario Kart. And I'm not having a bet, no.
Go on. So what did you mean if you didn't mean an updated version of Mario Kart 8?
Just like a Mario Kart of like best of tracks. It mostly is 8, but it's got some extra bits.
Like an anthology sort of thing.
Yeah, but basically it's the Mario Karts you played, but on one disc instead of multiple. Here's
no
60
discs.
quid?
No discs involved there, Matt.
Which hasn't Mario Kart already
discs again.
done that? Was it Mario Kart? Was it Mario Kart 7 that had all like GBA tracks in it and stuff, or was it an early one? I can't remember.
They all do. I mean, the Mario Kart 8 has a load of like old tracks in it.
No, but they're like reworked.
That's what they've done for years.
They're like reworked. It's not, but not literally. I know there's been a Mario Kart that's literally had the tracks as they were in the older ones and stuff. But
okay, I still think their next move is going to be a Mario Kart like Ultimate, where it feels more like Smash Brothers than Mario Kart, if you know what I mean, in terms of what the content is.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be loads of different theme levels around that sort of stuff. Rather than, I can't believe they haven't done that.
So you're saying loads, like as many characters?
I've said this a million times. So
guest characters, guest tracks based on those guest characters, like Steve from
that's
Minecraft
what I reckon the next Mario Kart is going to be. Not necessarily Steve from Minecraft. Well, actually, that would be pretty good.
The trouble is, I mean, that feels like that feels like the nuclear option. That once they do that, where can they go from there?
Yeah.
Well, they'll just do a nicer version for the next console. Who knows? Who knows with Nintendo? They're fucking what strange company. It's so bizarre. Okay, right, sure. Should we move on?
Yeah. Sony have delayed Destruction All-Stars back to February 2021. This was going to be... was it going to be a launch day game on PS5?
It was, 70 quid.
And
I pre-ordered it.
Yeah, because I know we were quite excited when we saw it on that their presentation, weren't we? It looked
it looked like it had potential for sure.
Yeah.
They're absolutely doing the right thing with this.
Yeah. Because it's going to PS Plus as well.
Yeah,
that's the other thing.
Which is definitely. I think that'd be great for it. I mean, looking at like the game and what it could be, maybe they just thought it's going to need a massive audience, and maybe launching like a brand new IP for 70 quid when it's really dependent on loads of people playing isn't going to do well.
I think they looked at the pre-orders and thought, okay, this game is not going to work with 7 players.
Or even just looking at the number of consoles available in the first week, month, whatever. Yeah, it might just not be enough.
It looks like that game needs to hit the ground running, and it certainly looks like they're going to try and get as much. They're going to try and get PS5 content on PS Plus subs. Yeah. So I mean, it makes total sense, and I'm sure the game was ready to ship, but they decided to change this for obvious reasons. So hopefully, the games that you get with your PS5, you're going to be a little bit tired of, and then come, when is it? March?
February.
Or April?
February, yeah.
Oh, February. Well, come February, you'll be after a new game, and that's on your PS Plus subscription. So, I'm sure it'll get a decent audience from that.
Yeah, I'm so interested in it. I mean, it looked good, and I was interested in it even as a launch title. So yeah, this is definitely definitely the best thing for it, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when it does launch on PS Plus. And
for sure,
because everyone will, as you said, Dave, everyone will want to download it, and suddenly you'll have a game with well, it depends on how many PS5s they've shipped, but
you know what it's like when a new console comes out in the traditional sense that Sony are releasing it. People are itching for games for that console, and it usually takes a good year for them to start churning out. So to have those games, spread them out. I mean, it's what Nintendo did, didn't they? There was rumours that Odyssey was finished way before they released it.
Yeah,
but they spread those releases out, so there was some sort of consistency with games coming out for that system. So it totally makes sense. I wasn't surprised when I saw it, although I
was definitely surprised. I was like, wow, it
was late in the day, wasn't it? Yeah. It was late
they
in
held
the
back
day.
a launch title and it's PS Plus, so that felt like a pretty big deal to me. But
also, I suppose you're right.
What's interesting with this is that it will be available for 2 months in PlayStation Plus. So that's obviously different to PlayStation Plus as we know it, where typically games are out for a month and that's it. Like, Rocket League did it back in the day. They all do it. Fall Guys did it. But this is 2 months. So do you think we're now seeing them adapting to how it's going to work on PS5? Maybe these PS5 games on PS Plus will be a 2 month thing. So you won't be one every month.
I can't see that. I think this is a way to spread out content for the PS5 for a period where they haven't got regular content to put on PS Plus for PS5. I think this is just to eke it out because I don't, not to ruin the next story, but Bugsnax is also 2 months on PS Plus.
But so only on PS5, not on PlayStation 4.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
Pretty rubbish. As someone who's only going to have a PS4 for the next while. I wasn't itching to play Bugsnax, so I'm just fundamentally the idea that some games that are out on both will only be on PS Plus for one or the other just seems a bit needless.
Yeah, and presumably you don't pay extra for PS Plus on PS5, right?
Well, no.
But you get an extra game.
Yeah, obviously there's the argument, it's like, well, you can still claim it to your account, and then when you eventually get a PS5...
Oh, of course
maybe that's what they're doing. They're doing the thing of like, oh, well, if you're a PS4 owner and you're keeping up your PS Plus sub, well, hey, in 6 months, you've got a few PS5 games ready to go.
This is as Matt says, can you though? Can you claim PS5 games without registering a PS5 to that account?
Yeah, pretty sure you can, because when I got a Vita, I'd
had
that
was their change since then. Because obviously now you can't even claim Vita games on the store. You have to that's
because
now
old,
you have to go on the console itself.
Yeah, that's just because the Vita's old.
Yeah, I haven't heard just the fact that it says you need a PS5. I was like, that's a bit of a weird language considering everyone could just go to the web store and claim it. I don't know. I don't know if I've seen confirmation one way or the other.
Can you access the PS5 store if you haven't got a PS5? That's the question, because that's what will determine whether you can claim these games or not.
Yeah.
You can if you go to the web store. So by that sense, maybe you can. But just the way I read it, it's like, yeah, you have to have a PS5. Well, why would they have used that language when they could have said, no, you need PS Plus and go to the website?
Yeah, the PS5 version is. Because no one would buy. Well, they would if they had any intention of buying a PS5. But yeah, no, it's interesting. Honestly, we want to hear your views on this. I'd love to know if you're angry about that. I don't know if I'd be angry about it.
The fact it's,
the fact that maybe you're not intending to get a PS5 straight away, and you're paying the same sub as someone that has bought a PS5, but they're getting this extra game that you can get on the PS4. And again, it's one of those things, and I know you don't want to harp onto it because it sounds like the console wars, but if this was the same situation for Xbox, there definitely wouldn't have been locked away for just the Series X and S. You know what I mean? It would be that one download for all systems. So it kind of feels weird. I personally don't feel angry about it. You know what I mean? You've just bought a £450 console. A little sweetener for that is all right. I don't feel like that's a bad thing.
Like if it was a game that was like, well, yeah, technically it's on the PS4, I guess, but really you want the PS5 version, but it's only Bugsnax. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, well done. Don't you slag off my Bugsnax. although I've got no way of playing it now. Don't you slag off my Bugsnax.
Okay, fine.
I'm rooting for those boys.
While we're on this, I should say, so Hollow Knight The original is on PS Plus this coming month as well. And if any of you listening have not played it, it is an all-timer. So definitely check that out.
Okay, cool. Right, so that's probably the Bugsnax one covered as well.
Yeah, the thing about Bugsnax, is that if you buy the PS5, you also get the PS4 version. But if you get a PS4 version, you don't get a PS5 version, obviously.
What?
Yeah, I read that.
It did push Sean over the edge. Push Sean
Shit
over the edge.
console for
Apparently,
twats.
for each PS5 copy that gets claimed, it adds an additional 10p to the price of the PS4 version as well, Sean. So you want to get in there quick.
And there's one less bug snack in every game.
Yeah. They took out a few bug snacks from the PS4 version because why not?
Yeah.
That's not true. That's a joke.
The PS4 version is actually just called Bug Snack. There's only one snack in it. That's all it can manage. That's all it can manage.
It's just called Bug.
Right. This is probably the biggest. James put the news together, by the way. I'm not having a go. The cadence of it is weird.
Okay.
Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed again. We got another surprise Twitter announcement, which I gather was a surprise to most people working on the game as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This was another, basically pretty much everyone found out by the same tweet, including staff working on the game and stuff.
That's not good.
It's now coming out on the 10th of December. They put a statement out, and obviously it's the usual, wanting the game to be the best it can be and what have you. What I'd heard and has since pretty much been confirmed is that it is basically the base PS4 and Xbox One versions are holding it back at this point. Apparently,
how does that work though? Because that's the one they're releasing.
I know, and it's weird, isn't it? Because
obviously version's coming later.
Yeah, but they've said that the PC version is done, is ready to go, and now it's a case of rolling it back onto everything else and getting it to work.
Oh, sorry, you mean the base PS4 and the base Xbox and the Xbox One S versions rather than the Okay.
And
I guess I'm not surprised. I mean, I could see how getting it to run, well on those machines will be a much larger challenge.
Yeah, but
getting it to
it's
run on
strange
the Pro
because
or the One X or the new consoles.
Yeah, but then the minimum specs for the PC version are surprisingly modest. So I don't know what it is, but obviously, it's obviously a technical nightmare. So I'm not surprised that it's. I mean, it was never going to run on James's Xbox One, was it? Let's face it.
Well, nothing does. The OS doesn't.
Giant Bomb pointed out this week that they did release a limited edition Xbox One X for that game with the controller and a code in the box for Cyberpunk, and I don't think anyone expected that the new consoles, the next gen, would have started by the time that game was actually released. But I mean, I don't know how to feel. It's one of those situations where you think, take your time, get it right. You know what I mean? I'd rather wait that month and boot it up day one and play it, and it runs better than you putting it out now and me putting it in and struggling to deal with the fucking frame rate and shit. However, I did pay for it last month. I literally paid for it last month. And I'm
obviously, so people have been kicking off and saying but you said it went gold last month, which obviously that's people not understanding how this stuff works. In that, a game can go gold, i.e. there can be a releasable version of it that is still full of problems, and then they just patch it day one, or day zero as they call it now. I don't really know what the difference is, whatever. But yeah, there is a potential issue
which is fine, right? And I understand your point, Sean, but they did make a big deal out of it going gold.
Yeah, true.
There was a big tweet and all this.
But every game does. Every says we're gone gold. It's a milestone. It's
but I take Dave's point.
But this
that
isn't
I'm
a milestone in this case, is it?
Yeah,
what Sean's saying is that it's not a milestone.
Yeah, but they're still sort of giving it the ceremony as if it is. Yeah, but yeah, so that, potentially there's going to be people who buy this for their PS4 or Xbox One and don't have the internet on the day it comes out and just have a shit broken game. potentially. We don't know for certain.
Yeah, but how many games does that count for? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
We all know that day one patches is just a regular part of gaming now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean.
Obviously, other corners of the internet have reacted to this especially badly and started sending death threats.
Are there dickheads about, Sean?
There's dickheads about, and they play computer games, Dave. So developers getting death threats and stuff, which is just appalling as always. It's just can't believe we still have to point out that you shouldn't send people fucking death threats.
I'm pretty sure none of our listeners do.
No,
I'm. Fingers crossed. I can't say 100% that's
no,
a
but
fact.
you know what I mean. It's like why do I still feel like we have to clarify our stance on this? It's just
because we play video games, Sean.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's just gross, isn't it? Like how, yeah. And I mean, I feel for the devs because obviously. It's easy for us to be like, oh, well, we can wait another month. It's only a computer game. That's going to be another month of, for many of them, absolute hell because they've already been crunching for God knows how long.
It just prolongs the agony, doesn't
exactly,
it?
Yeah. So many of those developers are just going to be ill over Christmas because it's just so physically taxing. So that's really shit. But
okay, so it's now coming out 10th of December.
Yeah,
I mean, I still think there's a very high probability it won't be out in December. It'll be out next year.
Do you reckon it's going to slip again?
No, I don't.
I mean, I would not be surprised at all
if it gets delayed for Christmas. Surely,
I also think they should delay it till next year. Like January, everyone's desperate for a January game.
Do you know, if I thought it was going to give the staff a breather, absolutely.
But then, it was just going to prolong the agony, as you just said. But
yeah.
Well, unless they get it finished, and that's not.
Also, Sean, Christmas is cancelled. You can't say it is gone. Let's stop hanging on to it.
It's not cancelled. It's just rubbish this year, Dave. It's still happening. It's just going to be underwhelming.
It is.
Look, so, do you think it will definitely be out in December?
I do.
Yeah.
But they said no more delays about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. But I do think it'll be out in December. But what state it'll be in, I don't know. But I do think that they'll push it out in December. There's a big elephant in the room, though, isn't there?
Well, yeah, I want to talk about that related to that as well. But go on.
Oh, go on.
Well, with the Game of the Year stuff.
Game of the Year,
yeah.
But before we get to our Game of the Year stuff, I think that is surely also another factor. Like most outlets, but by 10th of December, most outlets have recorded or have done Game of the Year stuff, right? Definitely by then, or they're not going to do it on that day because this is like a massive game. So this, you would think, it's going to miss out on a lot of potential Game of the Year accolades, right? Because it's come out so late, it's missed the boat. That's why
because it's going to be so.
I'm sure press will get it earlier.
Well.
Because they can control that message, can they? Because they can say that there's a.
I guess.
I'm sure I saw it confirmed that it does officially miss the cut-off for Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. So it'll be next year for him.
But then, but award shows like that are always weird. I mean, the Oscars can be it feels like ages.
Let's not compare Jeff Keighley's little show to the Oscars. Because that's exactly what he wants.
Fuck the Oscars. But yeah, I'm just saying, it comes out on 10th. Yes, I guess someone could get a review on that day and say Game of the Year, but it feels like that's so late. It's going to miss so many of them things, and they would want the accolades, and that's why I can see them delaying to next year. So first week of January, here's the game, and that's it probably means nothing, but accolades are still a thing that studios and stuff strive for, and I feel like releasing this late, they're going to miss out on a bunch of that stuff this year. Release it first week of January, it'll be like Game of the Year contender for that year. I feel like it's almost.
But technically, it is anyway
at this point.
I think. But what's going to be interesting is that, say it. I don't think it will be, but say it is okay, kind of underwhelming. It'll be so weird to be in 12 months' time, being oh God, yeah. Do you remember Cyberpunk? We all thought it was going to be on the list, but it's. I don't think that'll happen.
It's too late to be on a list.
But I mean, but what if it comes out mid-December and we're all just oh fuck, that's 2021's Game of the Year sewn up already.
But yeah, but then it came out this year. That's the thing.
Yeah, but as far as we're concerned,
I mean, let's not worry about other outlets. They can deal with that sort of stuff. Other outlets.
Our peers like IGN and GameSpot. And
we've made...
and I love JapaneseGames.com.
Standing shoulder to shoulder with the greats.
We've made the decision that it's not going to be on our Game of the Year consideration this year. And it'll push
so
into
therefore
next year.
It goes into next year's pot.
Fucking opens it up a bit, doesn't it? Because, if that game was as good as everyone was hoping, then...
I was going to say it puts the cat among the pigeons, but it doesn't. It removes...
It takes the cat out, and a bunch of pigeons are going...
just going, well,
what
fuck
do we do now?
Let's have a go.
So that's not going to be in our Game of the Year show, but I'm looking forward to playing it regardless. And it means that I'm not going to try and hammer it to fucking... talk about in the Game of the Year show, so I'm quite happy.
I think it might be a much nicer experience. And what a Christmas game that could be. I mean, not that Christmas games are a thing when you've got kids, but
it's nice to be great to have that over the holidays for sure.
I might play it for a bit and then put it down until the next gen version comes out.
Well, this is the other thing. I don't know which version to get because I've got a pretty good PC and I'm getting a Series S, but my Series S is until the next gen update comes out, is only going to play essentially the original Xbox One version, isn't it? Because the Series S doesn't run the One X versions of anything.
Yeah, it doesn't have any One X enhancements. Yeah, so it'll be the
no, but it's way more powerful, and it'll be it'll load like lightning. I think you'll be all right.
But it might still be a version configured for the very old Xbox One. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll be
load
configured
really
for
quickly,
that.
and then it'll be 1 frame a second when it loads. It's like, brilliant, this game's only 5 seconds. Oh, what? Is this
trust me, it'll run a lot better as well, because even the stuff that they're not optimizing for these new consoles, apparently they're running games a hell of a lot better regardless. I think you'll be all right, Sean. But yeah.
It's very stressful for me, this.
I mean, if I was you, Sean... I'll go PC because I want to see its in all its beauty, but
I guess it won't be in all its beauty on that. That's the thing. If I had an amazing PC, I'd be like, well, of course, that's the option. So yeah,
a lot of tinkering.
But in terms of the next gen versions, we have no idea when they're going to come out.
Well,
I can't see them coming out in like Q1. I reckon that would be like spring, summer. I don't think it'll be as soon as March. No way.
I mean. Yeah, we could sit here and guess release times all night, but
let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fuck it. Sean, James ain't here, is he? I think maybe March. Okay, cool.
April.
All right,
April.
Let's move on. You fucking idiot.
Chris Lee, who's the director of Halo Infinite, has fucked off. He's left the project. And, I mean, it's not a great sign, is it?
Well, we were saying last year that people could leave companies without it being some major story or big dramatic thing. You're saying that's not a good sign? Look, I don't know the fella. He might, so this is not having a pop at him. But if it is because of the reason that we're probably all thinking, then I see that as a good sign. Really?
Well, yeah.
Like maybe someone's just taken over and just gone, nah, we're not.
It's not working, mate.
It's not working. We need to make Halo brilliant. So let's just. The hope is that they're not completely scrapping everything, but they're going, okay, let's take control of this. Let's make this the best Halo can possibly be. And make it look good, and then we'll see what happens. Now this is a game that I'd be surprised comes out next year.
Yeah, honestly. I think did I say that last week or the week before? It's like, I think this is a long way away now.
To slip. Yeah, I mean, once it misses that launch window for the console, why rush it at all now?
Exactly.
I
really think they're going to just press reset on this. I mean, yes, they may have lots of things like lore or story done and don't have to change that, but just look at it. I think this will be lucky to come out Christmas next year. I think it'll be a 2022 thing.
Do you know what? That's not a bad shout. Christmas next year, if they aim for that and they hit that, then that could be
and the
fantastic.
longer they leave it, do you think they might just pull the original Xbox One version?
Oh no. I think definitely. I think this will basically be like it would have been 2 years. But yeah, so actually, I don't think it'll be next Christmas. I think they'll have it. So it'll be 2 years after launch of Series X. So there won't be an Xbox One version.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, they're doing it for a good reason. I think we were in two minds whether they were going to pull it or not. About a week before they pulled it, and I mean, in fact, I think all of us were saying, "Nah, they're definitely going to release it." I'd be very surprised if they delayed it, but now that they have, I think, yeah, we're going to have to wait a while. And fair enough. Let's see how that game comes out. It's very rare. We've said this before and been wrong, haven't we? I was going to say it's very rare for a game to be in development hell for a long time and come out and be amazing. But there was a couple recently, wasn't there? I can't remember what they were.
Anything Valve work on seems to be their thing. Spend about 10 years working on something, and then actually it is brilliant. To be fair, But yeah, it's rare, isn't it?
Oh, it was Doom, wasn't it? Doom was the one the sort of the first of the new types of Doom. That was in development hell for a long time, and it come out and it was utterly superb. So we could only hope a similar thing happens with Halo Infinite. But
I want to take the time, and if it's 2 years or whatever it is, I don't mind. I'd rather just go to Halo.
You know what this fucking podcast is like, though, Matt? You do know that between recording this now and it being released on Wednesday, they're going to announce it. Coming out.
And they'll say the game's out on Wednesday.
It's true. All right, let's go.
Right, what else we got? So another departure. So Simon Woodruff, who was the creative director on Everwild at Rare. So this is the one we've talked about where we don't really know what the game is yet, but it looks bloody lovely. So he's resigned from Rare. So I don't think this is him being sidelined from a project. I think this is him just leaving for his own reasons. But so he's off.
Well, that seems less dramatic because it's so early on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we were all a bit concerned when we saw some of the the footage of it, and we're like, oh my god, this looks amazing. What is it? And then they kind of basically said in interviews, we don't really know.
So was it the creative director that spoke on the reveal trailer of that?
I can't remember. Don't know.
Okay, we have a chat. I'll just look at the link quick.
Okay.
Very James Farley.
It's probably happening all the time. This stuff, obviously, and it has been happening, since the industry was about. But it's just it seems to be making bigger news now because everyone's so into knowing, so many senior people on each of his games and each of his studios that any sort of departure makes news. It was not. By the way, it was not.
Which is great because she was so passionate in that reveal trailer about what she wanted Everwild to be that I'm quite happy she's still working on Everwild. So that's good. That's going to be announced that she's left, isn't it? So between now and the release of this podcast.
Anything we say, the opposite will happen by the time Wednesday rolls around.
It's going to turn out that we've got some horrible power over world events.
Some Jeff Keighley works it out. Yeah. And he does a big expose on our podcast. That'd be good for numbers.
Would.
Okay, next news story.
So obviously last week we talked about the company selling PS5 flaps, plates, whatever you want to call them. I want to call them flaps, but they call them plates. Sony have told them off and they said, no, stop that immediately. And they've had to cancel all the orders and refund everyone. I mean...
this is the second change they've had to make, though, because actually last week they changed it from PlayStation 5 and they rebranded to CustomizeMyPlates.com.
That's right, yeah.
Because they must have
which is less snappy, let's face it.
Yeah, I mean, which I kind of get. PlayStation 5, you say that and it sounds like PlayStation 5. I get that. So new name, fine.
Potentially
and then
confusing.
Sony have said new trademark infringements, so no flaps at all for you.
Which they're releasing their own, aren't they?
Oh yeah, 100%.
This is, I mean, there's no other reason why to. It's not that. What I'm saying is that them cutting this down just points to the fact that they're probably releasing their own. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think it necessarily means that. I mean, it's just like any
why would they close this down then?
But because it's like anyone who tries to infringe on IP or a patent, you've got to shut it down immediately. Otherwise, when it comes to a proper court case, they'll say, "Well, you didn't shut that one down." That's why
it's the stupid way IP law works, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, but this happens in gaming all the time. You can buy shells for everything. You can buy shells for the Switch. You can buy them for
but that
consoles,
doesn't replace the actual. You're not removing the casing from the Switch and putting a different one on. But then you've been able to do that with other. Oh yeah, of course, yeah, my Joy-Cons. Yeah, good point. So I thought you were talking about, like cases that go over it, but no, you're quite right. Yeah, there's replacement
you can replace the whole shell of the Switch as well. The back
I'm literally, as I'm stood here, I'm like my Switch is in my eye line, and I didn't clock that. So that's where my brain is tonight.
I can assume in that case, Nintendo had different, patenting or whatever it is compared to Sony. But with any sort of copyright thing in anything, movies, TV, films, books, whatever it is, people have to jump on these and do it immediately. And most people say, "Oh, well, why are you suing that little company? Because they've got because they got a cafe that's the name of your product or something." It's like, well, they don't want to because they want to take that cafe out. They've got to, because any other proper court case, they've got to have a history of, look, we've shut everyone down. So
I know. I understand that. I understand
that. Doesn't
rule.
Say they're going to do plates tomorrow. I think they definitely will. But this doesn't necessarily point to
I understand that rule for a lot of things, though, Matt. But in terms of things like this, for hardware adaptions and stuff, that doesn't tend to be the case, does it? I mean, why don't Apple shut down everyone that's making cases for their phones? Why aren't decals being shut down on consoles? I mean,
well, again, because that's sticking something on top of it. That's not replacing a part that normally the manufacturer
a case is literally moulded around the case of a phone, right?
Yeah, but the case goes around the chassis. This
doesn't replace it. Yeah, this actually replaces it. Yeah. I think what surprises me, so if it's the design of the flaps that's the issue. I was saying last week, I'd love it if they did some alternate shaped ones that don't have that fucking stupid collar at the top, and they actually fit that, that sort of contour of the black bit in the middle, the way it's sort of, at the top. Yeah. I think that would look better, and they can go, well, it's different. So,
yeah, I think it's probably the only way they could probably argue against that, Sean, is, as I said, the locking mechanism into the console itself, because it uses those pins, doesn't it? This is a very dull conversation. So,
it's a shame though. I mean, because I was definitely going to order some of these because I quite fancy a different colour one, but that's not going to happen now, is it?
Well, it is until when Sony release theirs. Yeah, they're going to do it, Matt.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they were stupid not to. They definitely will, but I wanted one for launch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next one. Right, I said I wasn't having a pop at James earlier. I am now. Why has he put this one in? Sony are buying Crunchyroll for $1 billion.
What is Crunchyroll?
Exactly.
What do you mean? It's a massive anime. It's like the Netflix for anime.
Yeah. And it's Sony, It's not PlayStation, so...
Okay, next.
Going to release some new headphones. Whatever.
Okay, fine.
We've got an Anthem story, guys. We've got an Anthem story.
Oh, what? James isn't here to lap it up.
We probably should have waited. So they've done a new Destiny-style user interface. I mean, I love Destiny. The user interface is not one of my favourite things about it. I think the whole, moving a cursor around with the stick and then having to long press on most things.
It's a bit annoying, isn't it?
It's okay in Destiny, but all the ways people have tried to copy it have all been worse. I'm looking at No Man's Sky, which I do basically really like now. I still hate the interface on it, and it's Destiny's fault. It looks better, but then
what's the advantage of having that cursor on screen than, say, the menus in Spider-Man, for example? And I'm only thinking of that because that's the last game that I played for any length of time. The menus in Spider-Man, you've got loads of upgrades, loads of different bits and pieces, and you press start and use the buttons, the shoulder buttons, to flip through different menus, and then you use the T-pad to go to each part of.
Yeah, and it just goes straight between all the things you can click on.
Why is that cursor thing any better than that?
I just think this can allow for much more complex customization. I just think that there's so much more. I just think there's. I think they probably thought is a quicker way to quickly move around, an entire suit, or the guns, or the various upgrades.
I don't know.
I really don't know
that at all. I think it's more the fact that this is a game that's as likely to be played on PC with a keyboard and mouse as with a controller.
I think when you're optimizing it for consoles, surely just pressing right on the D-pad to go to your armor and left to go to your weapons is way quicker than dragging that cursor across.
Yep.
But then you've got to press down, and then you have to go like down and left for one, for like guns,
true,
down and right for your armor.
No, that's a good point, actually. You can't go down and then left on a D-pad. I've forgotten about that. Sorry, mate.
Way slower. I can see why I've done it, because it's complex.
That's why you can't play Street Fighter on a fucking D-pad, because, the moves down, left. Fuck doing that on the D-pad. It's not going to work, is it?
That doesn't work, Dave. This is a menu, it's a game. You lost that. I can see why I copied Destiny.
To be honest with you, I don't think I have lost that, but fine.
But you're comparing a complex menu system to a game.
But okay, all right.
I can see why they copied it, and I think it looks good from the GIFs and stuff we've seen. But it's a very small piece of the whole puzzle they've got to fix.
What I would say is that there are other things that you can nick from Destiny that you should have started with. I'm going to be totally critical. Don't start with the menus. Look at the other stuff. But yeah, okay. Well, Anthem is still being mentioned, so they are still working on it.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see. Right, and is that it for news?
That is it.
Before we go into what you've been playing, I wanted your opinions on, obviously, I mean, it's funny, whenever we do this show, 9 times out of 10, it feels like, didn't we just record one like yesterday? Now we're doing another one. But this week, it feels like so much has happened between then and now, inside of gaming and outside of gaming. But more importantly, this time last week, there were no unboxing videos, and now there's a ton of unboxing videos everywhere of all the consoles. There is, yeah. And watching the reactions of journalists and influencers unboxing the consoles and talking about the new PlayStation controller. Starting with the unboxing videos, were you as blown away as we knew the PS5 was big? Right, we knew the PS5 was big. The moment they announced it and they showed us that CGI of it, and people were scaling it up using the disk drive and stuff, we knew it was going to be a big boy. But and we'd even seen the PS5, the tear down video and stuff. But seeing them pull it out of the box was mind blowing to me. I don't know how many of you did you watch any of these, Matt? Because you've been avoiding them, haven't you?
So I watched. I mean, I didn't watch any Xbox unboxing because that's one of the very few surprises we have left. But I certainly watched those impressions and stuff. But the actual taking out of the box, so I just skipped through that bit. And with PlayStation, they just ripped open that bit of plastic and they had a console. So yeah, I did watch them, and I'm like you. I'm like you. I'm still looking now. I'm still surprised every time I see it on video. It is bloody huge. But
I watched the MKBHD one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's my boy. That's the only one to watch, really.
I fucking love him. He's one of the
he's so good.
Being so aware of YouTubers and the weirdness of parasocial relationships and stuff. But if I saw him in real life, I'd be completely inappropriately be like, "Hey, how's it going, mate?"
Who's this? Who are you talking about?
Marcus Brownlee. He does.
Yeah, Marcus Brownlee's brilliant. Sorry, I missed the name there. Yeah, I just honestly. I watched a hell of a lot of these, and a lot of them irritated the fuck out of me. But I've been watching this stuff for years, and never, once irritated me. No, and that is amazing.
Yeah, it's great. But crucially, he's also 6'4" or something, and the console still looks huge in his hands.
Yeah.
He's also a semi-pro. He's also a semi-pro frisbee player.
Is he?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
The New York team, and yeah, he's a great guy.
You should try frisbee in a PS5.
Yeah.
Fucking wreck the building.
Just a plate. Just try it with a plate. See if you could do that.
But the unboxings, it looks massive. But the pad. Because so
hold on. Before we move on to the pad, because I want to talk about the pad a lot. What I will say, definitely watch the Giant Bomb unboxing videos, because it is quite funny to see how they struggle to handle the console and try and get it on camera at the same time, because their setup wasn't exactly professional. But also when they unboxed the S, you didn't watch any of these?
I haven't seen that. No.
Did you watch any, Sean? Because that's the one you're getting.
Yeah, I did.
It's scary how tiny that box looks.
Yep.
It is insane. And they said, it is a lot bigger than a Wii, but it reminded them of unpacking a Wii, because it was just So this is it, is it? Like that's it.
I'm still really worried that because there's no actual footage of an S running right anywhere. I think that's still embargoed.
Yeah.
I'm honestly still worried that it's just going to be it's fucking noisy. It's basically made of cardboard. Yeah, we opened it up and it's just there's all just string and fluff in it. I can't believe it's real and does what it does for 250 quid. And
the
size
it rattle.
Yes.
Or it'd be like you open it up and it's actually a tiny little motherboard, right? Like when you get those cheap. Like when you see
it's a Raspberry Pi. It's a Raspberry Pi in there.
Yeah, it's got a Raspberry Pi in the middle of it. Yeah. I can see that. It is crazy. I mean, I know unboxing videos, some people just absolutely hate them, but they're worth watching just to see the comparisons and the reactions and stuff. And trust me, we're going to work on our own. We've got some plans. Okay. Don't worry about that. We've got something in the works. But I thought it was fascinating watching those unboxing videos this past week. But
that's all we've had, because right now, that will almost only change by the time this podcast is out. But at the time of recording, all they've been able to do is open the boxes. I think we might have seen a little bit of Astro's Playroom footage, but that was about it. No other thing. There's been loads of backwards compatible stuff on Xbox, but nothing else other than that at this point.
That was enough, because the one thing that blew me away about the impressions of the PS5 and made me think, I want one of them now, is the people talking about that controller. For starters, right? So, as I said, I've been playing Spider-Man, and I've not used my PS4 for a while, and going back to DualShock 4 was a pain in the arse. It was giving me hand cramps after about an hour's worth of play. That's not to say it's a bad controller. A lot of people like that controller, so please don't tweet me. But I just felt that I wasn't fully holding it. The handle bits were sort of digging into the palm of my hands, and I was sort of wrapping my fingers around it, which is just, it's not. I don't find it a nice controller to hold. When you look at the shape of this new one, you just think that looks perfect. Yeah, the stick isn't in the right place, but I'll be totally honest with you, the stick being in quotation marks the wrong place on the DS4 is not what was pissing me off while I was playing Spider-Man. It wasn't anything to do with that. The actual shape of the controller looks fantastic, but more importantly, the DualSense stuff, the feedback that you're getting from the controller, everyone is raving about it.
Yeah,
everyone's saying it feels
sounds
amazing.
Like the most exciting next gen thing.
It does. It really does. And I was just thinking, I want to try that. Really want to try that. And I've gone from thinking I could go a couple of years without a PS5 to thinking the first moment I'll pick one up. It's not a case of me wanting to cancel my Series X and getting a PS5, because that would be madness for me personally. But it makes me want to get a PS5 now. People talking about that pad. So this is the haptic feedback stuff. It's a lot of journalists are saying it's really hard to describe, but when you're walking through a sandstorm as Astrobot, it feels gritty. It feels like there's grit inside the pad. And the other thing,
if you're sliding down glass, it feels different.
Yeah, smooth.
And then when you pull one of the ropes, you can feel the texture of it. Did
you watch that teardown video that I put in the group chat of someone actually taking the controller apart and explaining how it all works?
I saw, because Marcus Brownlee mentioned, is it Dave 2D did a video, and I saw some animations from that showing how haptic works. But
yeah, I mean the triggers look incredible. It's very clever the way they've got that working, about how it's like a gear essentially connecting with a screw that can tighten or loosen depending on the programming. I mean, I'm oversimplifying it, of course, but to recreate the tension and stuff, the moment you see it working and the mechanics of it, you go, I totally get the feeling that it's going to give me those triggers. So the cynicism in me is sort of saying, how many games are going to use it, B, what's that battery life going to be like, and C, how long are these components going to last before they break? I mean, the pads are not as expensive as I first thought they were going to be, so that's not too bad. But they're still not cheap.
No, they're not cheap, but it feels like, okay, they have really excellent features in it, so that kind of makes me think, I don't mind as much paying more, because actually it feels like this stuff is going to add a real level of immersion we haven't really had before.
Again, that I mean, if those pads only last a year before the triggers fuck, what I mean?
Yeah, of course, that'd be annoying, yeah.
But, however, that's such a shitty question to ask at this point. We don't know
we
the
don't
answers
know
to those things. And it kind of overshadows all the cool shit that pad appears to do.
Yeah, it's nothing like, it's seemingly nothing like as good, but the Xbox controller had similar things to this. Like for I think it was Turn 10 who did the Forza games. It's not Playground. I'm sure they helped sort of co-develop the pads and said, for Forza, you're amazing if on tarmac it feels like this. But so it had that. It obviously was nothing like as good as this haptic stuff in the PlayStation 5 controller, but it had something like that, and we never really saw anything else other than Forza feeling great. This feels like it's much more closely integrated into the pad.
Yeah, was it the force feedback triggers or something they called them? And genuinely, when you played Forza games, it does feel amazing. It feels brilliant. Like, you can feel the engine rumbling as you're pulling the acceleration pedal. It feels fantastic. But as you said, no other games used it. I'm just...
It was a feeling, but there was no resistance there, was there?
Sorry,
it wasn't... I was just saying, they felt different, but there was no actual resistance to it, right? It was just...
No, there's no resistance, but you can feel the sort of rumbling of the controller when you were... It's a different technology, Yeah. So, the feeling isn't the same. It's just, obviously, devs didn't go ahead and use that stuff for anything else. And, it might be the case with this, but who cares? I'm not gonna bring that up because, as I said... This pointless cynicism is not gonna. I don't want it to overshadow the fact that this controller makes me want to buy a PS5. It does.
Yeah, I mean, I love the look of the controller from day one. I mean, I'm sort of less jazzed about the actual console itself, but I love the look of it. These things, there hasn't been a lot of truly exciting or big surprises or anything about this generation that we've heard about so far, because a lot of it is the games you played on current gen, but better, faster, load faster. But this feels like something genuinely new, and I can't wait. Yeah, all the previews I've read have seemed so overwhelmingly positive. I cannot wait to try Astro's Playroom on day one. I also heard it's like a 7 to 8 hour game, so it's not just like a 15-minute tech demo. There's actually stuff to do, and I absolutely loved Astrobot on PSVR, and it's sort of just great to see that character again and interact with a lot of the same things I loved playing with. Obviously not in VR this time, but I cannot wait to try Astro's Playroom. That feels like a genuinely another excellent game to play on launch day, rather than just a 2-minute tech demo that I thought I might throw away after not very long. But this feels like something that's really going to show off all the great stuff for the pad, and hopefully gets excited about the stuff that might come in the future.
Cool. All right. Yep. Just wanted to cover that.
In terms of embargoes, I think it may be Tuesday or on Tuesday is the US election, so it feels silly that they would drop anything then. But I think there is other big embargoes this week, so maybe by the time you're listening to this, all the PlayStation 5 stuff would have already been out. But...
We should probably just address, because obviously by the time the next episode goes out, the new Xboxes will be out, but we're not. I think we agree there's no point trying to move the recording around to accommodate that, right? Because even if we delayed to Tuesday, probably won't have. We'll probably still be downloading stuff, and that's assuming our consoles arrive on time.
Yeah.
So I think we're just going to record on Monday as normal,
just
and
leave it for a week.
So so Wednesday will be weird.
We're just about a week or so away now. Yeah. I mean, we're a week away from Xbox at least, 8 days from Xbox, and 19 days away from PlayStation 5, but it's not far now. Yep.
All right then.
Just needed to be some launch games announced.
Well, I genuinely think that Watch Dogs, I'm gonna make that my launch day game, because the ray tracing stuff we've seen from that on PC makes it look just utterly incredible to look at. And I've heard, I've not heard amazing things about the game, but if they get that looking good on the Series X, then that will be my... There's also that big thing about ray tracing at the moment, because, isn't it... I think Ubisoft announced what the consoles achieve, and the PlayStation 5 doesn't do native 4K, and it doesn't do hardware accelerated ray tracing.
Oh,
whereas
you're talking about this game specifically, aren't you?
This one game, yeah.
It's not okay.
So I mean, I can't see that being a regular trend. I think those things will obviously be coming for, be variable for different games or whatever. And I think there will still be devs coming to getting to grips with these new consoles and how much they can get out of them. But I'm interested to see like comparison videos and stuff. I think
Digital
that's going to be my next.
A very, very busy time. But with regards to the PlayStation 5 version being software ray tracing versus Xbox's hardware. I mean, obviously there's different integrations integrations of ray tracing. We're not to know really right now which is best. I mean, Sony's software side may be way better. We don't know, but I can't wait to see as you said, the comparisons.
It'll be interesting. Both. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting few weeks. Right. Okay.
So in terms of Watch Dogs, I mean, I wasn't mega jazzed about that, and I was like waiting for reviews, and a lot of reviews are fairly middling, like 7s, 8s, and maybe a few 9s, and and I thought, okay, it's just going to pass me by. But I've seen like a bunch of people on Twitter recently saying actually it's just really nice, a bit of like virtual tourism. It's really interesting what they've done to London, and it's not a 10 out of 10 stunner, but there's some interesting character interaction stuff. So I'm kind of tempted, and knowing it's not going to blow me away, but just to see what it's about.
John's been playing it, and he sent me a short clip of something that happened in the game. Not even just something that he came across as he was walking about, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to play this at some point. But we'll see. Okay, should we get on to what we've been playing?
Yeah,
Matt, I'm angry with you because I'm seeing your list in front of me, and PT's not on it. We're definitely talking about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I play PT. Yeah.
How did you forget that? I was
probably trying not to remember it, to be honest.
Just trying to put it out of my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So, on last week's show, I mentioned I was going to do I don't know why, I just fancied doing like a Halloween spooky stream because I thought, it'd be funny. And
as one of our listeners pointed out, you don't know why, and it had nothing to do with the fact that it was Halloween, no?
Well, I mean, obviously
would that be the reason why?
I know I'm not going to handle it. It'll be a stupid idea, but let's do it because it'll be funny. And last week I didn't really have an idea, but then, I think it was Shy and or Scientologist or someone in Discord said, PT, and I was like, oh, PT's. I mean, it's someone suggested PT. I was like, that's a good suggestion. Then obviously,
firstly, how the hell do you get to play it? Like, because you didn't own it, right?
Well, no. So I downloaded it on PS4. I've now got a PS4 Pro, so it wasn't on the Pro. But if you have ever downloaded it, or if you downloaded it in the past when it was available, then you can re-download it through some kind of hacky.
I didn't know that.
Hacky ways. But so I found it as Shy again. Shared a link in Discord, and it wasn't that complicated. Just downloaded a program on my computer, changed an IP address, and downloaded it, and it was fine.
Okay.
So if you've ever downloaded it when it's available before, you can re-download it now. But if you didn't download it at a time, you're unable to get it.
Okay.
I mean, I think I'm all right, to be honest, having seen the stream.
No,
I don't know how you did it.
It's a laugh, Sean. You should get it.
So talking of Matt's stream, Sean, can you just stand up? You stand up already, right?
What do you mean? Yeah.
You're at a stand-up desk. Okay, you'll stand up.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand up. Right. If we could just have a round of applause for Matt for that stream, please.
Yes.
Are you clapping?
I'm clapping as well, mate.
Clap louder, Sean.
No, because Isaac's asleep.
Pick up on the microphone. That was right. And let me say this, right? Because you screamed like I've never heard anyone scream in my life. And I'll say this, Matt. When I played that game, I was shitting it. I didn't scream the way you did. I didn't freak out the way you did, but I was shitting it. What I will say is that you are definitely a braver man than I am, because there is no way, A, that I'll play that game ever again, and B, that I would do it in front of an audience. So, I mean, respect to you for that. Secondly, it was one of the most incredible streams I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, I was hyped up for it before it started. I watched pretty much all of it. I mean, it got to the point where you got stuck on a bit and there was a baby crying for about 30 minutes straight. And I couldn't handle that.
Yeah, that was tough.
Could not handle that. So I switched off for a little bit during that. But if you haven't watched this stream, there's the full stream on our YouTube channel. Search TCGS on YouTube. But there's also a highlights video, which I highly recommend because it's just so funny. It's so funny. Also, I don't know about you, Sean. Did you ever play this game?
I think I did like 2 laps and then went, actually, no, why am I even doing this?
It's funny because when I was thinking about Matt streaming this game, I remember playing it and I got a little bit further than you did. I didn't complete it because the puzzles get too like wacky towards the end. And honestly, it felt like where you stopped, Matt, you'd done all the scary bits and the rest of it was a little bit like, I don't know, it felt like it dropped the tension a little bit after that. But and it needed to because it was serving a specific point, right?
Hell, it needed to.
Well, not so much for what it puts you through, but the whole idea of the game was that it was almost impossible to complete because they wanted it to be a few days at least for people to complete it to reveal the true nature of what PT was, right? Because it was a marketing tool essentially. Yeah. So I was thinking about it and I was thinking about my playthrough and I thought, do you know what? Why is this like seen as one of the scariest video games ever to be released? Why? Like, I know it's got jump scares in them and they were horrible, but I'm trying to remember why it was so creepy. And then watching your stream just reminded me, it's the sounds. Like, the audio design in that game is just second to none. Like, I'd forgotten there was even music in it. And then hearing that soundtrack, it's like when you watch Dunkirk, right? And the stuff that does with audio is literally to build tension. And they nail it. And PT does the same thing, but it gives you a different feeling.
It's not just, scary music in inverted commas. It's the fact that at points the music starts slowing down and then goes to a stop. And I'm like, oh my God, why is it stopping? Like, even that was kind of scary.
It fucks with your head completely throughout the whole thing. And
it's like it so perfectly rides the line. And this isn't just the sound design. This is the pacing and the events in general. And it perfectly rides the line in between, like, just enough of the events and the sounds and the visual stuff means something, so that you then read too much into everything, even though there's tons of red herrings and things that don't necessarily mean anything, or they don't, sounds that don't necessarily represent events that are actually happening as you're walking around. But enough of them do, and you're so alert and you're so looking for things that are trying to scare you or trying to freak you out that you read into everything 100%. Like,
well, there was a great example of what they do with audio that I was really frustrated because you missed, Matt. And I mentioned it in your chat, and you said, I didn't miss anything.
Listening to the radio.
Yeah, and what I meant was not like listen to the radio, isn't it creepy? There's a bit in it, because you were talking, you didn't hear it, so it's not like your fault or anything, but I remembered it really fucking me up when I played it, because there's a bit where you're listening to the radio and the radio's really scratchy and there's a lot of static and all this sort of stuff. But for one line, the radio announcer, the static goes and suddenly you hear it very, very clearly. And what he's doing, he's telling the story, and in that story, he's quoting someone to saying, look behind you. Look behind you, like that. But the static drops during that bit. So it really does feel like the radio's not reading a story anymore and it's talking directly to you. Yeah. And I remember that making me feel like I wanted to be sick. Like, I remember, when Matt goes, I remember doing that. Yeah. Like, just thinking that is awful. Mm-hmm. Awful. It's the stuff of nightmares, that, for me. And mate, oh God.
Yeah, it was a horrible, it's a really scary, horrible, and I'll probably go into that in a minute. But I will say, even when I was playing it, I was like, this is genius what they've done with, one corridor, you go round and round, the tension, even like, how it looks, the sound. It is absolutely genius what they've done, and it's so clever for all the things you guys have just mentioned. It's too much for me.
It's the pacing, isn't it? It's the fact that actually a lot of the time nothing happens, but you're still just like, oh my god, what's going to happen? What's it going to do? It's like you're just expecting to be fucked over.
Is when Matt opens, the short corridor where you go down the steps to restart the loop. Matt walks out there at one point, and there's just writing on the wall, right on the ceiling. And Matt screams and goes, "Oh, what's that say?"
Yeah.
It's like,
every time I go through a door, I was like, did nothing better come out and get me now. Yeah. I didn't think I was ever capable of screams like that. When you watch, you know, the classic horror tropes, and someone has like a blood-curdling scream. And I've often
Homer
thought,
Simpson scream, yeah.
would someone actually do that? Like, I don't know. I mean, I've done it, but yeah, the answer is yes. The answer is yes, I would do a blood-curdling scream. And the reason I had to finish bang on 10:30 is because, I mean, I guess ordinarily have carried on a little bit more, but I couldn't because I was literally screaming the house down. I'm amazed I didn't wake Elodie up. Jill, you know, I messaged her and I was like, sorry. And she said, bloody hell, Bean. Or bloody, you know, that's what we call Jill, Bean. Yeah, bloody hell. I was like, oh my God, am I in trouble? But yeah, I was like properly screaming the house down. Like,
did she watch the highlight video?
No. I think she's worried it would scare her too much. I was like, Dave's on the highlights page. Do you want to watch it? She says, do you want me to watch it? I was like, forget it.
So do you still want to fancy
but
me?
No, it was. I was nervous from the moment I thought, I'll play PT. I was just nervous all day. Like my stomach was doing knots because I'm like, this is really going to mess me up. But I thought it would be entertaining to watch.
What
and
were you like?
I think
it was
probably. It wasn't actually that bad. I mean, I went back downstairs and I was like, when I turn the lights out, am I going to see something in the dark? But no, I think I was just so exhausted from the stream and all the tension of the entire day beforehand. I just went to bed, so no, it wasn't so bad. So I got to, I played for like an hour and a half, and there was a lot of pausing, obviously, because I was scared. And I got to a bit where the corridor was all red and kind of. Oh no! Actually, I did that bit, didn't I? I think I
got past that.
Went a bit afterwards, so it went a bit more normal.
Yeah.
So I think I'm halfway,
relatively speaking.
No, I think you're way further. I think you are way further. Yeah. It's just so the last bit of that game just takes ages because it's loads of like you need to look at this, and then you need to. There's a bit where you have to like, you have to talk into the microphone, and it needs to pick up the fact that you said something at a specific time. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, they made it crazy, that thing.
I mean, there was one bit I didn't get. Well, I guess I got stuck. There's a bit where he has like look through a hole and then a hole in the wall, and then I had to find another hole in the wall the other side. But every time I went around the corridors, they were kind of mirror images or they're different. So I kept on doing loops to try and find it, and that kind of broke the tension a bit because I was like, okay, I'm just kind of getting stuck in it. And as Sean said, I've kind of lost the pacing because I was
again, it needed to do that stuff to make it as
it did need to calm
as
down.
Possible.
Yeah.
Well, no, as I said, like it's not so much because it was so tense all the way up to that point. It's just it had served its purpose. It had done all its horror bits that it wanted to do, and now it was like, how do we make this as obscure as possible so people find it really, really hard to complete? I got to the point where I was supposed to be looking at the radio and then looking back at a certain picture and then breathing into the mic, and I was like, I can't be bothered to go through all this. I'll just watch the ending on YouTube.
I was scared enough to look up at the balcony or look at any picture because I was scared to look at the writing on the wall because I thought something's going to burst out or make a sound.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to mention. The bit with the baby crying and the fridge floating around. Which is absolutely horrific. Like, the fact that recording of that baby crying even exists stresses me out, never mind having to hear it for like 20 minutes. But, like, that puzzle was stupid. And people in the chat, no offence, guys, you are not helping. Because they were just going like, you got to move the letters from one wall to the other. And it's like, what? How? By like looking at one and then walking over to the other and looking at it, I guess, but it was not clear. So I don't blame you for that bit being a bit dragged out because that seemed really obscure.
But I think what I like the most about PT is that game is a stuff of legends now. It will be referred to for years and years. Like that is, and that's in part to how well it does horror and how scary it really is. But it's also because of the whole thing that it got pulled off of the store, and
it's almost better that Silent Hills never got made.
I mean,
stuff of legends, it's not, that game. But it's such a curio, and will always be
the next truly horrific horror game that comes out that will be compared against PT, or they'll say it's as scary as PT. Like that's the bar, isn't it?
Yeah, but then PT for like as you said, it's such a special, like very simple as a surprise we didn't, at the time, people didn't know what it was really related to. It was a time limited thing, or it got taken off. It was just like one corridor. It felt like such a microcosm of like the perfect storm of all these crazy things. I don't think even if a scary game comes out, and I'm sure, there's like Amnesia games, they probably are scary, or Soma, probably are scarier games, but that was just such a perfect storm in itself.
Yeah,
it's almost sad and kind of unfair that, like there's loads of really experimental indie horror stuff, none of which I've played, obviously. But it's it's kind of unfair that like PT is, because it was supposed to be a new Silent Hill and it was going to be this new big budget horror game, but it never got to be that. That sort of makes PT even more special.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That is but it's exciting that there is this legendary game that people refer to, and if they can only play it if they're really in a specific, position to do so. It's nuts, man. It's crazy. But I'm really glad you played it, Matt, and thanks for letting us watch.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I did, and like I said, I think it is a work of art. I think it's an absolutely incredible experience. It's just very intense. But I will be playing it again. Part 2 is happening 31st of October 2021. I will come back to that.
See you there.
We'll look forward to that. Look forward to it. Right, what else have you got for us?
And I played Pacer, which is a new racing game. I think Sean, you played it as well.
Yes, I played quite a bit.
I don't actually know the name of the studio. Do you know who did it? Who's done it?
No, I can't remember the name. But obviously the hook here is that it's all or mostly ex Sony Liverpool devs, right? Who worked on Wipeout previously, and then and I was really gutted when Sony shut them down, because obviously Wipeout. I'm not like a huge fan, but it's always felt like Wipeout was a real sort of institution for PlayStation in general. It was the original, was such a huge part of like the original PlayStation's identity. The whole thing of like, it's got the Chemical Brothers and the Prodigy on the soundtrack, and it's like being shown in nightclubs and stuff, was just at the time was just absolutely bizarre. So when Sony shut down the studio, it was just like, what the fuck, man? Why on earth would you do that? So some of the devs have come together and produced something very similar, and I would say as good, if not better. I absolutely love it. I'm properly impressed, because it's always a weird thing when a game comes out and it's like, this is from the people who made whatever else, and you sort of think, yeah, but game dev involves a lot of people. And there could have been a lot of people who worked on the Wipeout games who, like which of those people, right, have come forward and have worked on this. Like, you're not necessarily getting the key people. But yeah, this is like such a perfect tribute / evolution / continuation, whatever, of what Wipeout was. It's just so like it just feels incredible. The racing, the handling model is just beautiful. Like the way the ships handle and stuff. The course design is stunning. Like proper, like that sort of feeling of like feeling a little bit sick, like when your stomach goes, like on a roller coaster or whatever. Like the sort of this weird layouts and like vertical sections and stuff, and like jumps and
split tracks as well.
Yeah,
where like the track splits in two, and you have to decide to go one way or the other.
Yeah, there's weapons, but they don't feel like I was never wild about the weapons in Wipeout, but I don't know, for some reason in here they feel, I don't know, like in Wipeout they always felt like I would rather just race and not have the weapons, generally speaking, whereas in this they feel a lot more integral, and it's properly good fun. Like being sort of neck and neck with another ship and getting into a bit of a fight with them. Not least because you actually, previous Wipeout games, you would, you'd fly over same as like Mario Kart, you'd fly over a panel and it would give you like a random weapon or item or whatever. Whereas in this, you actually set a loadout before you race. So there's all like different weapons and shields and stuff to choose from, and then there's like modifiers for each of those, and you can just put together your setup that you like.
Yeah, it's really complex, isn't it? So
it is.
There's weapon loadouts and there's also performance loadouts.
Yes, so you can tweak.
So weapon you can have. I think at least where I am at the moment, there's 2 weapons, each with 2 possible mod slots on those weapons, and you can and there are loads of different combinations. Loads of combinations you can make as well, but then performance things which I think aids like boost and handling and top speed, acceleration and stuff as well.
Yeah. But usually at the cost of something else, it's always like a sort of give and take, which is fine. And like what's really fascinating is that so you can have like 2 weapons, and as you say, two mods for each. Like I've not experimented with it enough, but I'm pretty sure it would be valid to have the same weapon twice, but with different mods. Like because
I bet you're probably right.
Yeah, like that because that's how much those mods can vary. So that stuff's fascinating. The ships look beautiful. Like I absolutely love the ship designs.
I think the game in general looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it really does. Like the lighting and the color palette and stuff.
It's been a while since
nuts.
Wipeout, but this looks fantastic with like the lighting and you know the tracks are varied in their designs, and it's really cool going from one part of the track, which might be sort of a kind of open. You can see like landscape and hills or environment in the background, and suddenly you'll be kind of what feels like you're underground and like a sort of almost cyberpunk setting.
Yeah, little sort of cityscape bits and it's
I think
so good.
They've done really well with a variety of even in one track. It feels like you visit lots of different places.
Yeah, and like just the sensation of speed as well. And this is I've only played on like the slowest class available, so God knows how it feels later on. It's just so much fun. I really wasn't expecting to enjoy it this much.
How wacky does it go with that? How wacky does it go with the tracks? Is it like loops and?
I've not seen any loop the loops yet, but there's all just weird ones where it's like spiraling up around buildings and stuff.
Vertical drops.
Yeah, cool.
And like for me, I mean, I never really played much Wipeout because I didn't have a PS1, and what I did play, I didn't really like. I felt like when I played it, I was just bouncing from side to side, and I just this wasn't for me. This feels more like it's got more F-Zero in it than I thought it would. I mean. A lot of tracks are much parts of the track are much wider, and it feels like there were a lot more verticals, and I had much more F-Zero vibes than I thought I would do. I thought it would be a pure Wipeout clone.
How many races on the track though? Because that was what made F-Zero, right?
I think it's
like 10. I think
10 or 12.
That's still
like
too bad. How many was F-Zero? Wasn't it like 18 or something?
Well, F-Zero was sort of nonsense, wasn't it? Because there was like 4 that really mattered, and then just a load of. Plebs.
Just load of little things that you can just smash up.
It's so good. It's just
Have
so much fun.
By the way, it's done by R8 Games, by the way, just so we get name out of it. Have you played any of the multiplayer modes? You played, or maybe on tutorial you might have done Elimination?
Yes. So that's the one where like every minute whoever's at the back gets taken out.
Gets knocked out. And that's excellent because I just said I think that is 8 players or however many players. If you're last place, you've got 30 seconds to not be last place because otherwise you'll get eliminated. And when you're even playing against like computer controlled characters, having a battle with them and fighting them and shooting them and trying to get in front of them before they get taken out is really exhilarating. So I imagine playing it online against other people will be even better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you done the one not, blown away by the handling model only because I was never really too jazzed with Wipeout generally, but it is. You do feel amazing when you probably nail like the air brakes, which is like the equivalent of the hand brakes.
I don't know if you had the same thing as me. As I say, it's been a long time since I played Wipeout. So when you first start a race and it's like press X to accelerate, and you're like, what? Face button to accelerate? What on earth are you thinking? But it's because, like you say, all that nuance and all that control is in your triggers because they're your air brakes left and right, and that's how you do. Obviously, you come off the accelerator sometimes, but it's fine that the accelerator is just binary, sort of on and off, because
it got a bit of a tangent, but going back to Mario Kart 8, when have you ever taken your thumb off the accelerator? Like, unless you're playing a 200cc, which 200cc, which you rarely do anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that's got an option to just have that held down all the time. Why do we still never use it?
It's like when you first play, because some shoot 'em ups, They're just like, yeah, you just fire constantly because why make you press a button? Doesn't matter.
It's so annoying when a twin stick shooter goes, no, you have to press the shoot button to shoot. What? Why?
What else? Oh yeah, so have you played, Matt? I can't remember what it's called. There's a game mode where there's essentially like a sort of a drone flying over the course at like a set speed, and they're sort of generating like a shield that basically everyone has to stay within. And if you sort of, if you're going too fast, you're going too slow, you fall out of it, and basically it just starts sapping your shield and eventually destroys your ship.
Is that the one called Storm?
Yes. Because when you're outside of the shield,
just failed and went on to another mode. But
okay.
Oh, so that's good, is it? It's worth going back to.
So good because you like not only for the fact that when you're outside of the shield, like the visual effect of it is just absolutely nuts. Like I say, yeah, it's just this like horrendous storm and just like fuck me, it's just so intense just to look at. But yeah, so this shield that you're safe in, this little bubble, shrinks over time. So
cool.
So yeah, obviously it brings all the races closer and closer together. And obviously once you normally in a normal race you can get blown up and then you respawn and you carry on. Whereas in this one, it's once you die, you die. So it's everyone's just sort of fighting to be the last man standing, and in this sort of increasingly smaller and smaller space. It's essentially, it's the battle royale thing, but played out over like a few minutes, and it's just so intense and so fun. And it's got I forget what they called it in Wipeout, but the mode where it's just you racing between checkpoints, but every checkpoint you get a bit faster. So that's in there as well. I've not tried it in this though. My only complaints, and they're really petty ones. If you're just going through the campaign, you would initially be forgiven for thinking there aren't many tracks. It seems to repeat them quite a lot, but there are loads. There's fucking loads of them. It's just that the way the campaign's structured, it felt like it was like the same sort of 3 tracks for a lot of the events. I don't know if you felt the same, Matt.
Well, I mean, I was doing that, and I assumed I played a bit, and I assumed I'd pressed the wrong. I thought I was almost like repeating the track.
Yeah,
I thought I may well set something wrong, but
no. That's how it's structured. I haven't
done that much of the campaign. How much have you done then?
So I've basically only done I've done the sort of full tutorial, and then there's like a race to sort of graduate into doing the actual racing leagues or whatever. And I've done like one of the. It's like within every league, there's like contracts with different corporations, isn't there? And then they have of a different series of like missions and different events and stuff. So I've finished one of those, and I'm on to the second one. And then just did like a couple of quick races as well.
Nice.
So yeah, there's no shortage of stuff to do.
I need to play more of it, and I'm excited to play more. But I guess my initial sort of issue of it is just like the UI just feels.
That was my other complaint. Is so when you're looking at the mods for the different parts and stuff, it feels like sometimes the text description doesn't actually match what it's showing you on the stats. Like it'll say like, oh, this increases, acceleration, but reduces your defense or whatever. And you look at it and it's like, well, it isn't reducing my defense. There's no, there's no reduction on the stat. I can see it. And I don't know which is lying or which is wrong. So that's weird. But again, it's a minor issue.
Yeah, and like the UI stuff, it just feels like you've got to go through a bunch of menus before you do anything. And like even it's like even in the tutorial, it says here's how you start loadouts, and you got to like name it straight away. It's like
and you can't change the name.
Play it instantly. I don't even know what the thing is, let alone what I could call it. Like name one. Like, I don't know what I'm really doing.
I don't know.
I feel like they could tie that up.
Concept.
I'm sure that may well be fixed, but forgetting that, like the actual racing itself is really good. And like I said, I wasn't even like a really big Wipeout fan, but I found it really exhilarating when you nail the corners. It's absolutely brilliant.
And I say just the sensation of speed and the combined with the track design is just it. I can't remember the last time a racing game made me like physically feel weird and excited playing it. Like it's just proper good. Really
I'm
impressed.
glad because I remember playing this at was it Res?
It was Res, and we were sort of lukewarm on it, weren't we? I think it was like you just got to do one race, and the AI was just set to, basically don't bother.
Yeah. So I remember playing a demo. I was like, well, that's kind of pointless because from the start line I went in front, and that was it. There was no other people to race against. But I'm happy to report that the AI is, it's quite difficult actually at points. So I've had loads of really good battles already.
Yeah,
what's it available on?
So what is it, PS4 and PC at the moment?
And Xbox.
Is Xbox en route still?
Well? Or? Yeah, PS4, Xbox, and Steam.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I wonder if we get a Switch version of that.
Really fucking good.
Do you reckon there's a Switch version available? Or do you reckon that's possible? Or is it?
I mean, playing the PC version, it's clearly like really well optimized. It runs and looks amazing. So maybe a Switch version isn't completely impossible. It's not going to look as good, obviously. I think it would need to be 60 frames. I think that's a big part of the
for sure,
the look and feel of it. Obviously, sacrifices will have to be made, but would be cool having. But then the triggers. You need analog triggers.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah,
so that's nuding.
Yeah.
I
wonder if this will somehow be like 120 frames on the new consoles.
That would be good.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be able to play it on that anyway, unless you're buying a new TV.
Buy the stupid telly.
So be it, David.
But yeah, I mean, I can. Full disclosure, yeah. So we got code for this, but I mean, I'll buy this again on Xbox when I get the Series S. I think, quite happily. It's fucking mint.
And that's it. I mean, I played PT, I played that, and I streamed Mario on Sunday. Still haven't finished it. Really annoying.
I was so gutted that you didn't finish that. You looked really down by the end of that stream.
I've been loving the streams. The game is still excellent. I'm still really enjoying it. But I'm like, okay, Matt, come on. Like, I mean, those Hammer guys are literally one of the worst enemies in video game history.
Yeah, that's why they were so good when you see them in Odyssey. And you're like, oh no, Hammer bro. Oh yeah, I can just chuck my hat on them and become them.
Yeah.
Like, that is so satisfying.
So I got to like 8-4, which is the last level. I got there with like a few lives and I was big and then I jumped in lava and I kind of fucked it for myself. But I will get it done next week and I bloody need to because I'm frustrating myself now. But yeah, I'm still playing it. I'm still loving it actually. The music's still great. And I can do like 8-1, 8-2, excuse me, with my eyes closed, 8-3, the Hammer Bros turn up.
Why
and
aren't you
kind of
saving?
does my 9, but
what was that about? I tuned in quite late on the last stream and everyone was telling you to save and you just weren't doing it. What's that about?
Yeah, well, okay, so you can save whenever you want in this game, obviously, but we agreed beforehand that I was going to save at the start of a world. So
I thought we said the start of every level.
No, I haven't been doing that.
No, start of the world. No, it can't be start of every level.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly, I'll be like saving after one successful jump at that rate.
No, definitely. Why would you do that? That takes all the tension out of it, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't, because the levels are really fucking hard.
Yeah, the levels are hard, but every time you die, right? So if you lose a life,
what takes the tension out of it is the fact that poor Matt's had to do the same fucking 3 levels loads of times because it's just
when the original game came out. You just if you died and lost all your lives, then you had to start the game again, didn't you?
Yeah,
and it was worse.
It was worse, right? So then when All-Stars come out, they changed it to you start at the world.
Yeah.
Right? Which makes sense to me, because if you lose a life, you start at the end of the start of the level. But if you lost all your lives, the punishment was you go back to the start of that world. Otherwise, what's the difference between losing one life and losing all your lives?
Well, none, but they don't even, do they even still have lives in Mario games anymore? They do technically, don't they? But it's just it's nonsense.
No, I know, but for that game, I think that's definitely the way it should be played. Definitely.
All right, well, the chat disagrees.
Yeah, so. Well, no. So I got to 8-4, I had a bunch of lives.
Sean,
and was like,
through this before.
Sorry, Matt, go on, what are you saying?
No, yeah, so I got to 8-4, last level, loads of lives, and Ev was like, just save it now, save it. I was like, I know, if I save it now, there will permanently be like a little asterisk next to my name saying, well, Matt finished it, but he saved. I was like, oh, no,
that asterisk is just in your mind, Matt. It's not real. It's just, it doesn't matter.
It'll be for me. I still think about Honesty and Smo, even though I use the mechanics of the game.
Matt, the satisfaction of getting all the way through to that last world is going to be... There are only 4 levels, Sean. They're not like... It's not like... I
mean, tell Matt that. He's the one who's had to play through them umpteen times.
Yeah, but look how good he's getting at those early ones in that run.
Yeah, I'm nailing 8-1, 8-2.
He'll get through it. He beats Celeste.
I will get through it, obviously. And I concentrated loads last night. I didn't tell any random stories. I didn't go and I really focused. And yeah, the first 2 levels tick. That's fine. It's just a hammer dickheads, but I will get through it, and there'll be a massive satisfaction when I do. I just hope I get through on Sunday, because I'm kind of getting towards annoying myself, and
well, you could just make it loads easier for yourself. Why does it take so
long with me? Why does everything take so long?
Because you don't use the save options that you could.
Matt, don't worry about how long it takes you. Don't matter about that. Don't matter about that. You'll nail it on Sunday. I'm sure. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about your deaf only edit for YouTube though, because I've done your first 2 streams and it just the deaths, and I mean literally half a second before you get killed and playing out the no, that's the actual main theme tune, isn't it? But how's the death music go? I should know. I've listened to it 1,000,000 times this week. Oh my god, how does the death music go, Sean?
I'm trying. I can't remember which one it is. Yeah.
Oh my god. God.
Yeah, no, it is that little excerpt from the main. Yeah.
How have I only just put that together? It's a slower version of the main theme.
Or it's just one little.
Wow.
motif.
Okay. Wow. 35. I would say. That video for the first stream, just those little bits tied together, is 18 minutes long. And I just thought,
God,
who's going to watch all this? Do you know what I mean? And you die a lot more in this latest stream. So
it's interesting because
like 3.5 hours on Sunday with just nothing but death.
Because like with the PT highlight stream, which listeners I would recommend to anyone, by the way, like that worked because obviously the fact that it's just all the high tension bits actually sort of brings it down to a manageable level.
It does, yeah, totally.
Whereas, because that's so like stressful and intense. Whereas, 18 minutes of just Mario dying
I tried
over
to
and
do
over.
little tricks with it where I just did the bit where he gets hit and not having that bit, like the little melody at the end.
Yeah.
And string a bunch of those together to try and tighten it up, but it does not work. That does not work at all.
Really?
It looks weird.
It
looked like an error while editing. Like I fucked up. But I don't know. Maybe I'll put out part 1 this week, and then people could decide whether I do a part 2 or not. We'll see how it goes.
Just be loads of random sounds and screeches and beeps and
yeah. But I mean, that game is still a lot of fun. I've been playing it today actually. And it still feels fantastic.
So I might go back because it's been a long time.
Let's face it, we're all thinking, should we all try and complete it before Sunday?
I mean, I was going to say I might have a little go, but then like that's kind of goes against the point.
Can't do that, Matt.
Okay, fucking
cool.
excellent. But I've been busy, so I haven't played that much this week. I mean, Genshin. I think I'm done with that game now. It's probably because I've been busy. I mean, what I do is I log in every day, I get the gems, whatever, and then that's it. I don't look at any other part of the game.
It's like an Animal Crossing thing, isn't it? You've got like 28 million bells in your pocket, and you don't play it anymore.
What's the fucking point?
I think with this, I'm like, well, it takes. I mean, also because I spent that $5, and then so I'll get like 30 days worth of these gems. So maybe once that ends, maybe I won't. But
if you don't log in, you're losing money, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll do that. I'll collect them, and also it takes 2 seconds to log in and collect, and then I'm like, well, I might come back to it, so now I have loads of wishes. But no, I think I'm kind of done with it.
Joe said to me, what was it yesterday? She said, "Oh, what's the November update from Animal Crossing?" Because I mentioned it last week that we'd been popping on every now and then, and I thought, oh shit, I haven't checked. Let me go and have a look. Don't look like there is one. It just looks like they're not doing it. Yeah, for
Amazing.
November. Brilliant. Nice one. Okay, cool. Sean.
Hello. Do you know what, the first one, I won't go into a massive amount of depth because I want Dave to play it and I think we'll have a good chat about it next week. But I've played, I played the demo.
Well, I'm not on the show next week, so there's that idea.
Well, that's not going to work, is it? Fuck.
The golden age of TCGS is back.
James will play it, it's fine. All right, so I played the demo of Hyrule Warriors 2 and I am well into it. I mean, I've, big fan of the Warriors games anyway. Really enjoyed Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U, if you remember the Wii U.
Are you saying Hyrule?
Hyrule.
Oh, right. To me, like on my headphones, it sounds like you're saying Hyrule. And I was
Hyrule
like,
Warriors.
Is this another Sean trying to change the way we pronounce stuff again?
Hyrule.
Could you imagine?
For those who aren't aware, Hyrule Warriors 1 was. I feel like I'm doing it now. Hyrule Warriors.
Hyrule. Go on.
I think that's just me trying to say Hyrule in like not a long, drawn out way. Hyrule.
No, you're saying it fine.
So what is it? Hyrule Fields?
Harold Warriors is Dynasty Warriors, which is, games set in, Chinese history, running around, this whole thing that it's, these sort of medieval battles with thousands of troops running around, but there's basically about 3 people who actually matter, the generals who are just running around just slaughtering loads of people, and there's guitar solos like playing in the background and stuff, and they're fucking great. They're proper good fun. And in the last few years, we've seen
when that guy was saying you don't just press XXXYYY. This is the game that he was referring to. Yeah. Because you do just run around pressing XXXYYY.
I'd dispute that. And then, recent years we've seen that template now, applied to other franchises. So we've had this. There's like a whole load of Gundam ones, which is the same thing, but with big robots. There's been a Fire Emblem one. And we had Hyrule Warriors, which was the Zelda one, and it was really good. And now we're getting another one, which is set. So it's essentially a prequel to Breath of the Wild, and it's set in the Age of Calamity before everything went to shit. And interestingly, I think it's like an alternate timeline deal. I don't think they've been allowed to, mess with the actual story of Breath of the Wild. So the game starts off with, the Guardians in Breath of the Wild. There's like a little one of those. He's like a sort of a big egg with legs. So everything's about to go to shit, and he fucks off through a time portal to when, all the, Ganon first invaded. And I guess the idea is he knows something and he's going to change things. But yeah, so it looks like Breath of the Wild. It's got the same visual style and stuff, the same admittedly quite bad frame rate at times. But yeah, so you initially playing as Link, and you're just wading through hundreds of bokoblins. Is it bokoblins? What are they called? The enemies?
I don't know. The bad guys.
The bad guys.
Yeah.
And you're just absolutely demolishing loads of them. And then you get to play as shit. What's her name?
As shit?
She was in the last one, and I can't remember what she's called. She's like a supporting character. I've never actually seen in a Zelda game, but people seem to like her. Anyway, she's in this one. And yeah, like massive differences between the characters. Like she has this whole weird move set where she sort of generates like 3 or 4 like extra versions of herself, sort of flanking her either side, and like massively extends like the range and damage of her combos, and has this whole weird system where she can like. It's so weird. It's like you press like one of the trigger buttons, and she sort of does like a ranged attack, which then sort of imbues an enemy with a symbol, which you then extract with a different attack. And once you've got 3 different symbols, it gives you a much more powerful special. It's weird, and it's like, even among, obviously there's been like fucking dozens of Dynasty Warriors games, and it was starting to feel like they were running out of ways to make it unusual and interesting. But this one is proper good fun, and it's got like all the Sheikah Slate abilities, right? So even though it's certainly not a puzzle game by any means, but yeah, you're sort of going through fights, and you can like freeze a bunch of people or throw a bomb, or there's the slowing time one and stuff like that. And then there are like larger boss characters who, so it's like if an enemy's charging at you, then you just fucking freeze them and then get around. And it's got the like Breath of the Wild had the sort of the last minute dodge, and then you get like a really good counter attack in. It's got that, and you can break enemies' guards and then get like an instant kill in and stuff.
Cooking for health.
Has it got cooking in? I think it might have. I'm pretty sure I've picked up ingredients.
I'd be very surprised if it didn't. If that would be amazing.
Yeah, and then there's cool little set pieces like when you first, so you're in a battle and you're sort of escorting Zelda across a battlefield, and then like one of the Guardians shows up and no one is equipped to deal with it. So it becomes this little section where you're having to you're essentially being chased around by this Guardian until you find a way to sort of get a counter attack in, and it's really good fun. It's really nicely done. Yeah, I really like it. I've still not finished the demo. It's quite a substantial demo, and I think progress carries over into the main game.
The whole first chapter.
Yeah, there's quite a bit to it, and yeah, your progress carries over into the full game. So I'm very excited to get the full game.
This is out this year, I presume.
It is, yeah. Is it this month? I think it's soon. And it's it's one of the I've always loved Dynasty Warriors games, and I've always sort of recommended them, but in a sort of I am aware I probably like this more than normal people would. But this really feels like one where I'm like, yeah, fucking, it's just great. It's just really good fun. Definitely check out the demo.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. There's only one other. I've been playing CUE, CUE, which I think stands...
a John Virgo game. Is this a snooker, is it?
Is it a pre-lockdown outside Asda game?
Is it a post-lockdown outside Asda game?
Ooh, political. No politics, please.
So CUE stands for, I think it's Cards, the Universe and Everything. This is a mobile game, and it's a card game, but bear with me.
No,
it's no. All right, I'll just carry on. You go make a cup of tea, have a wee, whatever.
Okay, I'm having it right now.
Turn-based card game where like the hook is that the cards can be anything, right? There's all like loads of different characters, and it's one of those where it could so easily fall into the trap of like. What I would win between a pirate and a zombie, or but it commits to the thing so well, and the sort of the range of different cards you can get is so wide that
can we all agree it would be pirate?
I don't know. I was going to say zombie.
No, well, pirates got like a sword and a gun.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, but zombies got like teeth that they can eat. Well, it depends what zombie. Are we talking full running zombies?
Yeah, but a gun you can fire from far away.
Yeah, but the guns were rubbish, weren't they, back then?
Yeah, they only fired once.
They can throw the cutlass.
Fucking wank.
They can make the zombie walk the plank.
Look, it's a great question, and I think we need to answer it by putting cards on the table. Yeah?
Yeah. I'm putting my cards on the table and saying this game sounds shit. No, I'm joking.
That's awful.
Sorry.
It's okay.
No, let's hear it.
So, like, the category, so they're all split into different categories, right? And there's like dogs and planets and sharks and weather and ancient Greece.
This is a great episode title.
Yeah. So yeah, and so you'll be like every turn basically you can play like a number of cards. They all have like a cost to play them, and then you'll have a power rating. Like mechanically, it's very simple, and it'll be interesting to see if it really has legs or not. Like I'm enjoying it for what it is at the moment, but obviously a card game like this lives or dies on whether or not people can sort of develop strategies with it, right? Where they can look at a bunch of cards and go, oh, okay, actually, like, they all have different characteristics and abilities, but actually if I can play them in a certain way, then it all comes together and I will end up winning. But as it is, like what I've played so far, like, yeah, the cards have a cost and a sort of amount of damage that they do. And then some of them have abilities where, so for example, like I've got the Lupus constellation, right, the star constellation, which then gives all my dogs like increased attack power or whatever. But they're all quite basic, those abilities, right? So I don't really know if that gets satisfying. But it is funny when a border collie has a fight with sunlight, or Alan Turing has a fight with a Spartan helmet, and each of the cards has a bit of text to go with it, and some of them they've really obviously phoned it in, right? Some of them are proper like copy and paste from Wikipedia jobs, but a lot of them are genuinely quite funny. There's like jokes about Craig David and stuff. It's really weird. And
wow,
I've like
that's a deep cut.
Yeah, when I'm opening.
Not anymore,
packs.
mate. He did a song with, was it Stormzy or something? Oh no, it was KSI. Craig David's back.
He's relevant.
I don't listen to Charles. I know he got ripped. That's all I do know.
Okay.
But yeah, so like, I'm opening packs of cards, and it's like I'm less bothered about what the cards actually are as just having a little read of the descriptions, because they're just genuinely quite funny and sometimes interesting. It's fucking heavy on the push notifications. I need to get them turned off. Feels like I'm getting about 5 a day from it. But yeah, it's quite funny and just enjoyable. I don't think I'm going to be playing it for a long time, which is probably going to kill it eventually if they don't sort that out.
Is this on Apple Arcade or?
I'm playing it on Android. It's free to play. Obviously, you get an amount of free currency, and one day they'll try and rinse you for the real stuff.
You're playing against real human people, right?
Well, it's allowing me to think I am, but I don't think I am, Dave.
That is the biggest con in mobile gaming. That
it's bad, isn't it?
And it's become like standard on things like Fortnite as well. Yeah. It's like, mate, I hate that. Hate it. At least with Titanfall, it made it very clear what was AI and what was real players.
Yeah.
And
which is good for me, because I'll just go for the AI and ignore the real players. Leave them to it.
Do you remember the Flappy Bird Battle Royale game?
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Oh, God, yeah.
It was brilliant, but you weren't playing against other people, were you?
Yeah, it turned out it was just bollocks, didn't it?
Yeah, but at least that was obvious. Like, there's been countless...
Was it?
battle...
I'm pretty sure you argued with me that it was definitely real people. I'm pretty sure you did, Matt.
Well... Now I'm thinking it's obvious. Yeah. But there have been a bunch of battle royales, like as you did mention, Fortnite, PUBG did it. I think Spellbreak might have done it. It's like I see everyone on Twitter saying, "Oh, this game, I got 7 kills, I won. This is brilliant." Everyone's like bots, mate. It's like VAR. It's like VAR in football ruining a goal. You're like, "I've scored an amazing." No, it's not a goal. Like, I've won a battle royale. No, it's a bot. It's like
I completed Super Mario Bros. You saved at the last level. So yeah, I get you. Yeah, I don't know, man. Shit's weird. But I can't see card games. The only one that I really got into for any length of time was for some reason the WWE one. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. I never played
WWE. So I'm not even interested, but I played it for a little bit on my phone. And when I was playing AI, I was just like, what's the point? It's like, I'm going to do this. And it's like, no, here's a better card, you lose. Well, okay, fine. But how do I know? Where's the skill in you playing that card, AI? Like, what was I supposed to do? I don't know. My brain works weird with stuff like that. I think everyone's out to get me. Sean.
No, I think that's true.
Is that all?
Yeah, I'm just looking through my cards now, and I'm just noticing that I've got a poodle which has a ludicrously high attack stat, and that's kind of funny to me. I don't know.
Send it up against Alan Turing.
I'll see what happens. I haven't got Turing. I've got Ada Lovelace though.
She's going to get absolutely destroyed.
And I've got Da Vinci's aerial screw, which is actually more powerful than a poodle. So,
okay, all right.
Yeah, that's all I've got. And thank God for that.
Okay, well, I'll be very, very quick. Completed Spider-Man, really enjoyed it. The stuff that I said about being bored of traveling from one place to the other, that goes away really quickly because the upgrades you get in terms of speed of swinging and stuff is really good. Yeah, really enjoyed it. I've got no interest in playing Miles Morales at the moment. I will say, right, as beautiful as that new suit is that they've given to make it look like the Spider-Verse suit.
That looks so cool. What they've done with the frame rate and stuff as well.
But it does fuck you up. Like I watched it full screen on my TV, and I was like, "Oh, that is fucking with my eyes a little bit." I wonder how long that'll be like until I just go, "No."
Sort of the reduced frame rate on it.
Reduced frame rate on the character, but nothing else. It was kind of like, I'm not quite happy with that. But yeah, no, I've got no interest in jumping straight into that because Spider-Man is so fresh in my mind. I've literally just completed it. So I'd be quite happy to leave like a year or whatever before I play that one, but I want to play it eventually, you know. Because I really enjoyed my time with Spider-Man. The ending was great.
The ending was awesome. Yeah.
The story
really
was
good.
Decent.
I was going to say, because you like were actively not a fan of Spider-Man prior to this.
Well, I just didn't. I had no interest in it.
Fucking hated him.
The last quarter of that game, though, I was constantly going, okay. There's like an enemy would turn up, and obviously that was supposed to be a really big moment for Spider-Man fans. Like I'm assuming those enemies that are in the final part of that game. I'm not going to ruin it for anyone. The enemies that are in the final part of the game, like the bosses that show up, I'm assuming they're all existing characters that everyone knows about, right?
Yes.
Right, yeah. I mean,
they're not like... Okay. Yeah, the way a lot of them are handled, it is very much just like, hey, remember them? And then moving on. It's not like, you know, knowing a bit about Spider-Man. They introduce them and
get rid of them really quickly, don't they?
Yeah. You know, as someone who knows about Spider-Man, I wasn't like, oh my God, it's... Like, there's things they do with certain characters, like, you know, who Venom might be in the next game, for example, that I think has been done before, but only in like a few, like a cartoon and stuff. So that there are twists there that if you know a lot about Spider-Man, it's like, oh shit, that's quite different actually. But yeah, broadly speaking, a lot of those villains they bring back is just like, it's them. Cheers. So yeah.
Yeah. So I felt like I missed out on a lot of stuff, but you know, who cares? I really enjoyed playing that game. So it was a good way to say goodbye to my PS4. I enjoyed that. I completed Super Mario Galaxy on the All-Stars 3D pack. That was all right. Yeah, I played a little bit of Odyssey today and then realised how much of a step forward that was for the series. I mean, granted, I didn't play Galaxy 2. I've still not played it. And a lot of people say that's the best one. But my word, that, you know, putting on Odyssey again after playing 64 and then Galaxy, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like a dream. It plays perfectly. It feels really fun. I think all this experiment of buying this 3D All-Stars game has just reminded me that Odyssey is the best 3D Mario game that they've ever done. And my word, I might play through that again, or at least try and get back up to 999 moons or whatever it was that Harry deleted. So I might go back to that. And I started Sunshine, and that was... Maybe I need to readdress that, because I've always gone, that really wasn't that bad. And then I was playing it like over the weekend, just going, it really isn't that good either. It does some annoying stuff where it's like some complicated platforming, but the camera's never where you want it to be. And if you fall off a ledge, you have to swim right the way back to the start and do it all over again. And it's like, it's just weird decisions like that I don't even feel that Mario 64 had that problem. I mean, it did in the later levels, I suppose, but strange one. Yeah, I don't know if I can stick with that one for much longer. Maybe I've just had my fill of that compilation and I'm done. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Galaxy, so that was good. And finally, so I've obviously got the Oculus Quest back, and obviously I've been playing a lot of PokerStars VR. What they've done to that game is unbelievable. They've added so much stuff, slots.
Oh, really?
Yeah, slot machines and blackjack, and
you've added slots. Okay, I might get involved now.
Matt, it's ridiculous. You can play. Go on.
That sounds good. No. I'm just imagining us playing it, and like I could see you about 50 feet away playing poker, and I'm just saying like throwing 10p's in a.
Well, no, this is it. So the slots and stuff are all in the lobby, right? So you can play the slot machines in the lobby, but the craziness is, it's a nightmare. Part of me thinks that this is too much, but while you're playing poker, you can bring up a virtual slot machine just floating to the right-hand side. So you check your cards, and then you just, gambling away on this slot machine, and then it pauses and says, "Oh, it's your turn." And then you look back down, okay, you make your move, and then you just turn back to the slot machine and carry on playing. It's dangerous. But yeah, no, really, really been enjoying that again. But more importantly, you mentioned this on the show, didn't you? The FitRX.
FitXR.
FitXR, I've written it down wrong. FitXR, you mentioned that on the show, didn't you?
Yeah, it's proper good.
I tried that last night, and my word, that is exactly the sort of thing that I've been looking for a while. It's just brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, really good.
It's really good.
Go on, sorry.
I tried Beat Saber again, and I several times I've tried it and just thought, not quite feeling it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not me saying it's a bad game, because I haven't put in anywhere near as much time. I've not tried to perfect it or understand it yet. But the moment you get into FitXR, you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and it just, all you're doing is you're standing there and punching like these shapes that fly at you, and then occasionally ducking things. But it just feels fantastic, and honestly, my whole upper back and arms are all aching, so it's clearly doing something. Maybe it's doing more damage than good, but it certainly feels good. So yeah, I think I'm gonna.
It's the fact that it makes you because Beat Saber is potentially an amazing fitness tool, but that's kind of by accident. Whereas this is obviously developed from the ground up as a fitness tool, and it's Beat Saber. You get more points for doing long swings, but you could get away with a relatively low effort performance. Whereas with FitXR, it's you have to fucking deck each and every thing, don't you? Because for a long time I was like, what? Why isn't it giving me any of the points? I don't understand it. It does that really sort of limp, just doesn't it?
It's
noise
the streak, isn't it? If you want to get a good high streak, you've really got to. It measures the speed of your punches, basically.
Yes.
So if you're just slowly hitting stuff, it just doesn't give you a bonus point for it. If you're smashing through it, then you get those bonus points and stuff.
And you fucking know when you do, because they're fucking blowing up in your face as you're doing it. It feels great.
I know. And all I'll say is, if you're looking for a fitness thing and you've got one of these, then I don't think you can go wrong with it. Joe wants to get into it. I think I'm going to play it for a few weeks just to see if I can improve and if this aching goes, because that starts to go away once you start getting used to exercising those muscles and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I think it does. I think it massively over-eggs. It tells you how many calories you've burned at the end of the session. I never
follow that stuff.
Yeah, because I was I did a 20-minute session. It's you burned 700 calories. I'm like, cool, I'm going to McDonald's. Pretty sure it's not accurate. But it is a good fucking workout. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm going to try that for a little bit longer, because I've been loving it. But yeah, if you've got a Quest or something, and you're looking for something like that, I don't think... is there a demo or something? Did you buy it?
We got code for this a while back.
Oh, right, okay, cool. Yeah. Well, I'm really, really enjoying it. So is this the game that's coming out on Switch at the end of the year, or is this VR only?
No, this is just a VR. Isn't the Switch one's a Nintendo one, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking about jumping on that, but I'm not going to bother now. Because why would I? Yeah, it's cool. I'm just waiting for the moment where I punch the wall, because it's probably going to happen at some point.
You still have that fear, don't you? Because although the boundary stuff is very clever, it can't predict you throwing your fist out very quickly. And
But yeah, I'm getting back into VR, so that's cool. Right,
nice.
That's it for what we've been planning. Let's go through a few questions. Sean,
if you want to send us a question, go to tcgs.co/Dear TCGS. Harry's done that, not David's son, someone else, presumably.
How do you know?
Because he says he's got a wife who's a nurse and she's recently contracted COVID, which is shit news. I hope you're doing all right.
Yeah, I hope you're doing all right. I was going to do the joke that my son's a fucking liar, because that's why. But yeah, no, that's really sad. I hope you're all doing all right.
I mean, how long do we give it until one of our kids does email the show because they find the...
Oh, God. Fuck, that's
I mean, so Elodie is 7 soon. I mean, she probably have never listened to the show, so maybe never.
It turns out she's fully able. She's just not fucking interested.
Yeah, it's Dad listened to it, and it was embarrassing, Dad.
I'll have more things about that.
Harry says, I'm now in isolation with an 18-month Well, he's put 18-month-year-old. I assume means 18-month-old daughter.
Mate, if he's in isolation with an 18-month-old daughter, then you know how tired he is.
We can forgive a typo.
Yeah, we'll get away with that.
That is bad times. Yeah, so he says, can you recommend any mobile games? As if my daughter sees a pad, she grabs it or crushes it. I mean, it depends. I mean, so it's a cop-out, but if you're on iOS, Apple Arcade's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, get that.
If you're on Android, the Google Play Pass is also okay. Like the sheer amount of none of it's like new or cool, but the sheer volume of stuff on it, you are bound to find something you like on there.
If you got iOS, I think that's it. And if you want mobile games, you'll get a lot of value out of that. There's tons of good stuff.
Yeah,
and
Apple
also
Arcade's
you know that
great.
Those games aren't going to try and rob you for in-app, purchases or gems or whatever you got to buy. They're just games without all that stuff. So yeah, if you're on iOS, that's definitely a recommendation.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. If you're looking for specifics, then I would say What the Golf would be an excellent choice. I would say Neo Cab if you're into sort of story-driven, kind of it's like a narrative game, like a visual novel. That's worth playing. Freeze, obviously, it's amazing. That's threes, the number threes. AP Poker is the poker game that I play on there. So if you're into poker, there's that. And what was the other one that I was going to suggest? Oh shit! Yeah, if you're, I'm pretty sure it's still available in its original form. But the first New Star Soccer, if that passed you by when that first came out, I can't imagine playing that for the first time. I got so addicted to it. That's if you're into football games.
It might have aged badly by now, though.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh, even I got into that for a bit.
For whatever reason, you can't get that anymore.
Yeah.
That's good. You need to watch Ted Lasso, I think.
Yeah.
Sean? Yeah, you absolutely need to watch Ted Lasso. There's barely any football in it, and it is one of the best shows of the year, by far.
Fair enough. This is the Apple TV one, isn't it?
Apple TV thing, yeah. But then you can get like a 7-day trial, and it's coming to Xbox like next month, right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy about that because I haven't got an Apple TV 4K, but on Xbox I might
have you do you subscribe, Matt?
No.
Have you ever subscribed?
No, I'm sure there's big trials.
Mate, yeah, there's a 7-day trial on there. Get on there and watch Ted Lasso. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I really want to.
Highly recommend to anyone. If you want to cheer up a bit,
as well.
If you want to cheer yourself up a bit, you can't go wrong with that. Imagine that, a comedy where it cheers you up rather than it's like the anti what is the oh no, oh my god, that's embarrassing. What's that show called? The Sunshine.
What?
It's Always Sunny?
Teletubbies.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah.
Teletubbies. That's the first suggestion. Comedy. Teletubbies.
Yeah.
It's a funny show. Funny show.
There's a few recommendations for you.
Yep. He says, P.S. Thank you for the content. The Bridge Crew streams, Dave and Matt streams of a domestic life with Nathan and Solid. Oh, Dreams. Sorry, Dave and Matt's Dreams. God, I'm bad as him. Of a domestic life with Nathan. I was going to say, what fucking streaming series is this? Fucking hell. James's mini chief report that I must have listened to 10 times now have brightened an otherwise miserable and stressful few weeks. Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. That's fucking rough.
Sure, what? You just said, "Oh Christ, I'm as bad as him."
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, so there's things I'm like struggling to read because they've been badly written, and then there's bits I'm just reading badly that have actually been perfectly written.
Another dick.
So Harry, I hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
thanks
man. 18 months. That's basically the hell part. Isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Oh no, you see, for us it was the opposite. 18 months was when he sort of finally leveled out and wasn't a fucking nightmare.
Charlie is what? Charlie's 2 next month, and he is the worst he has ever been. Yeah, impossible.
That bad.
That child at the moment, it
seems to change for us massively when Elodie turned 2. But for us, the worst bit was definitely the first year.
Yeah,
it was just horrific.
Yeah.
And it got better, but 2 was when it flipped overnight. But other people say it gets worse. So
Isaac
may vary.
Isaac recently turned 3, and last night at 4 a.m, I had an argument with him about whether or not it was dark.
Love it.
Because he was not convinced that it was. Anyway.
Yeah. I like it in the morning when Elle was like, or maybe I think it's the morning. It's like, I didn't sleep at all last night. It's like, No, you did. We checked you. No, I don't think I slept. I was just. Is it? No, you definitely slept. What? Why would you think you'd? Yeah. So because she feels like I think she feels like she woke up after a second of her head hitting a pillow.
It's frustrating when a Murray is wrong but tries to convince you that they're right, isn't it? It's a frustrating situation to be in, isn't it?
The difference now is that she did actually go to sleep. She wasn't then told. Oh, forget it.
Gave up. Go on.
Right, Fraser T says, following last week's pod where the dandy/Beano impasse had me cackling manically whilst washing the car in the street like some kind of mad drunk vagrant. Why is that the behaviour of a mad drunk vagrant? That's just washing your car, mate. Chill out. Reminds me of my very own 1980s childhood. I'm not going to read that out. It's an unfortunate term. After school TV viewing, were you a BBC kid or an ITV kid? Because personally, I was a BBC kid. I felt the ITV kids were a rougher mob, more likely to smash the windows of the school. I'll hazard most of them are now in jail following a string of offences against bus stops and old people's homes. Us BBC kids were a more genteel crowd, softened by Andy Peters and Ed the Duck. I was an ITV kid, so fuck you.
What was the ITV? What's the difference?
Well, Michelangelo was on ITV.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, then I was an ITV kid.
Remember Spats?
I mean, I was both. I
remember Spats.
Good show.
Yeah, it was.
And the next episode of Spats.
Zap. That was
Zap.
Good.
Zap was brilliant, wasn't it? It was
Art
creepy,
Attack.
but brilliant.
Fucking Art Attack, man.
Also ITV.
So what was BBC then?
I mean, I like
Blue
BBC
Peter.
because it had Andy Crane and stuff. But
Blue Peter was,
Blue Peter was always shit. I'm sorry.
Really was.
Yeah.
Never good.
Nope.
Never good.
Nope. But then
Katie
if I
Hill.
was Crane in the
Big
broom
fan of
cupboard,
Katie
so-
Hill. Apart from that.
Amen.
But if I was to describe myself as a kid associated to a channel, I suppose it would be Nickelodeon. But we didn't get
whatever.
cable till really
Sky.
late. No, because we've never had Sky, but we had a friend of the family that used to record Sky programs on VHS for us and give us the VHS.
Yeah.
But then we had Nickelodeon, but I must have been like 14, 15 at the time, and we're talking about a different period here. So now you're mentioning Spats, Zap, and what was the other one you said?
Art Attack.
Art Attack and all that. Yeah, I was definitely an ITV kid then.
Yeah, mate.
Me too. As much as I hate ITV now, I guess I was, yeah.
Why do you hate ITV now? What, in terms of kids stuff or just in general?
They don't do good comedy. It's just if they said that ITV's gone, I wouldn't be upset at all.
To be fair, I wouldn't even know. I mean, what, Corrie and Emmerdale? I think that's it. I couldn't name another ITV show.
ITV does nothing that I can't get from BBC or other channels.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck ITV.
Whoa, okay.
There you go.
Interesting.
There you
I
go.
hate it.
Right, Colin Kearney says, "Dear TCGS gang." Not a gang, just to be clear.
No, because that's
Not a
just
gang.
a group of friends, just buddies, right?
Just pals. As we all know...
We're just friends that only talk to each other and won't let anyone else into our little circle of friends.
And also we stab other No, we don't.
We do.
We also have T-shirts with a logo on it.
And we kill. No, we don't kill. We stab. We don't stab.
Lads, are we a gang?
We might be a gang.
We're just buddies who are like hanging out with knives.
I mean, we're a shit gang.
Gotcha.
If an actual gang had any beef with us, we would not survive. Colin Kearney.
Sean, don't say that. We got hacked off.
That's true. Yeah, I can't appear weak. Too late for that, isn't it? Colin Kearney says, as we all know, yes, you do before you try and deny watching it. Bake Off is back on our televisions. Watching it the other night, I noticed the background music is oddly similar to the music from the Fable series. One of the songs, I'm sure, is actually taken from the third game in the series. You know, the one where absolutely none of your decisions matter at all. He's right. I've also recently purchased a mobile for my baby daughter's cot that, when wound up, plays the song that is in Final Fantasy VII when you first leave Midgar and enter the open world. Yes. This got me thinking, have you ever heard a song or seen an image on a product or a TV program that you absolutely knew was taken from a video game? Octonauts. They use, like, when a monster appears or someone's surprised, there's this little duh noise, and it's from Monster Hunter when a monster spots you, and it fucking freaks me out.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not from Monster Hunter, but obviously it's from a library.
So you're late.
There's another one. There's another CBeebies show where there's a little...
There is. There's a reference to it. I think it is actually... What's one of the ones that one of our listeners works on? Go-Jetters.
Have we got a listener who works on Go-Jetters?
Yes.
Holy shit.
You didn't know that?
No.
Maybe they don't want that out there. I'll tell you afterwards. You afterwards, but no, I mean, I'll go into detail afterwards because you know who that listener is.
It might be Go-Jetters. There's definitely a CBeebies show where there's a sound effect that goes like... And that is also in MDK.
Yeah, I remember. I think it's Go-Jetters where they fly over something and they see something and they play a short little clip of I think it's either Mario or it's a Nintendo related thing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There's like a whole Mario episode, isn't there? Or maybe there's something else.
No, that's Hey Dougie. There's one where Hey Dougie's he's dressed as Mario, isn't he?
Yeah.
One of the characters is dressed as not Mario, but he's got a moustache and he's wearing a dungarees and stuff.
A plumber wearing a red and blue outfit.
I can't think of any other examples though where they play actual sound effects from games. I remember always finding it really weird in 40-Year-Old Virgin. What game were they playing? It was a really obscure. A strange one. What video game did they play?
Is that the scene that's aged really badly now?
Probably. Loads of the scenes in that film have aged pretty badly, haven't they? I always thought it was really weird. That eBay shop. You've seen 40-Year-Old Virgin, yeah?
Yeah.
You know there was that whole thing about the love interest in that was opening an eBay shop where you take the eBay products and you sell it on eBay, but you can't buy it. And it's referenced to loads. I sit there and go, why did they come up with that idea? It's not like they're pushing any comedy out of this. Where's this idea come from and why is it in this film? And why are they putting such a big deal into it? I don't get it.
eBay just paid them. It's like, mention the eBay shop.
I get that about films, right? There's also, Elf, the Christmas film.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. There's a scene in it where the reporter is talking to someone towards the end of the film. And the guy she's interviewing keeps going, I really love what you do on this. Oh, okay, that's fine. But what did you see? Oh, you tell the story with your eyes. It's really good. I really like. And I'm going, what is going on with this bit? What is the point in this bit? It's just odd. If you feel the same about that scene, let me know. We are to contact the show because it's been weird. I mention it every year to Jo. She looks at me in disgust. Sorry, how did we get here?
I don't know, does it? Lars Heatherdown says, Dear TSGC and Co. That's correct, well done. After listening to the very good recommendation from John Denton on the roguelike Hades, I was intrigued to try another roguelike. Not having the money to spend on a brand new title, I threw myself at Undermine, which is honestly quite good, though I don't know if it's been recommended by John Denton yet. The reason I find roguelikes interesting is that the resemblance to everyday life is stark. You wake up, go down the mine to the grind, or try to escape hell. You get a little further, get a little wiser, a little more adept, and perhaps a little stronger, but in the end, you die again. And the next day, you do the same shit all over again with, at best, a tiny, tiny progression. I'm not saying life is pointless, because I'm still waiting to see how John Denton stands on the issue, but I am wondering why it's satisfying when it clearly leads nowhere. Anyway, which part of your daily routine would you ace as a mini-game or roguelike? Also, which recommendation type would you accept coming from my man Sean Bell? Clearly, I don't understand that. What do you mean? And let's do the first bit. Which part of your daily routine would you ace as a mini game or roguelike?
Well, I mean, breakfast in the morning, getting that sorted.
As in your own or the kids?
Well, all of us.
The whole.
I do. I do breakfast for pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Then also the washing up. Because that is just, I've got that down to a T now. I know what goes where, all that sort of stuff. What goes where? Because we got one of those we got one of, those racks that you put things in to dry for a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Drying rack.
Drying
We've
rack.
got a free, drying rack, that's the one. We got a 3-tier drying rack.
Whoa!
Yeah.
And money bags.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Show off?
Yeah, but that means that you've got to put things on in a specific order. Otherwise, if you put all your mugs in the bottom shelf, right, and then you put your plates on after you've done the mugs, then all the shit comes off of the plates and onto the mugs below it. So, all the bubbles and that makes all the...
Well, what do you mean bubbles and that? You tell me you don't rinse...
Yeah, you should be rinsing them, mate.
Yeah, you don't rinse afterwards.
No, we haven't got a rinse. No, we don't rinse them.
You haven't got a tap on, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, but we got a
you
tap.
wash things
But then
up,
if you're rinsing,
use hot water to rinse off the bubbles. Otherwise, you got like stains on your glassware.
Yeah, but then surely when you're rinsing, it's going into the fucking bowl in front of you.
What?
Yeah, but it's like hot water and bubbles, and then put it on the dry
and then you rinse.
So what do you start with? Like half the amount of water in your bowl? And look, I've got it down. I'm happy with it. Don't get involved.
I don't know if you do have it down now.
It's none of your fucking business, Matt. All right,
it's like a fucking bubble bath over there.
It's all fine. Don't you just wipe them
triple
down?
tiered Turner's drying rack.
Hold on. When you dry the things, I don't have like bubble marks on my glass because I dried them.
Dave's whole family's got like soap poisoning. They're all just off their tits.
Well, I'm still here, and you've spent how much of your life rinsing? Yeah, and I'm still here. Sure,
well, not at all. Dave,
my life
got
expectancy is low.
Yeah.
See how it works for me. I'm happy. Stop it. Maybe not that one then. Maybe I'll stick with getting breakfast
my answer
ready.
for daily routine is not that I do this every day, but I think a mini game I'll be fine. Throwing tea bags in mugs from half over the kitchen.
You do that.
Yeah, why not? I'm always practicing, and also when you're putting petrol in the car, making sure it lands bang on the zero.
That gets harder and harder the more expensive the petrol gets. Have you noticed that? Because
what?
It always feels like it accelerates more, doesn't it, over time?
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah,
If the first fiver, you're like, fucking hell, come on, be here all day, and then it's like 10, 15, 20.
Yeah. The more expensive it gets, the harder that game is. When we were kids, you watch your dad do it, and he still didn't hit it, even though it took a good second or two to tick over a penny.
But the thing is, but it mattered then. It doesn't anymore because you pay by card.
Yeah, it's true.
It doesn't fucking if you had like a certain amount of change, you'd be like, well, fuck, I don't want to break into another fiver, so it better be bob on 15 quid or whatever.
Do you know what?
Who gives a shit?
I've still not got used to pay at pump.
Right there.
I've still not got used to pay at pump because you scan it in and then you get in your car and you feel naughty for driving off.
I might have done 10 years ago when I first started using it.
Really? 10 years ago you had them?
Oh, well, it's been ages.
Someone lives in Cyber City.
Yeah.
I always, when you pull up to use, you're queued up for the pay at pump, and then someone finishes refueling, and then they go into the shop. And I'm just sitting there like, you fucking prick. Why?
Yeah.
There's other people
like that.
I mean,
my dad's like that, consumed
banter,
with what other
it?
people are doing. Like when that happens to me, I go, "Oh, they'll be out in a minute. I want to go to the shop." But my dad is like that. He would be like,
"Why would you use the pay at pump one if you needed to go in the shop?"
That's the point. He goes, "Why are they buying their fucking weekly shop in a petrol station? Fucking winds me up." I don't know, Dad. Maybe they just don't want to stop somewhere to get a loaf of bread and some milk. Is it a problem? You wait in 2 minutes more. Just chill out. That's my advice to you, Sean.
It's inconsiderate. I don't know what it is. Once I climb into a car, suddenly rules are the most important thing to me. And,
sure. Look right as you're going around the roundabout. That,
not even from a road safety
with.
point of view. Just I want everything to be proper, Dave. All right.
Sure.
Quick one. Zoe Hardwood says, "I put hardwood. It's Harwood, isn't it?
It is Harwood.
Freudian slip there, guys." With the new generation of consoles just days away, I've been revisiting hardwood.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Sure.
Okay. The generation of consoles just days away. I've been revisiting old gaming systems, mostly via YouTube from my younger years. Which console do you think has the best startup soundstroke animation? For me, it will always be the original PlayStation.
There's only one answer.
Yeah, there is.
Is there?
Okay.
Go on.
Yeah, okay. I'll do 3, 2, 1 and we'll say it at the same time.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
GameCube. So Matt, you said GameCube, right?
I did.
Yeah, Sean, shocking. Dreamcast. What's the Dreamcast one? Let me have a look at it.
It's like some droplets landing in water and some synths and then the swirl.
This is going to piss me off. Dreamcast.
I love my Dreamcast, but it's no GameCube.
Dreamcast startup. Right, okay, let me see it. This is going to... Fair play, that's a good one. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I do remember that. That was a good one. But
GameCube is clearly up there. I'm not like...
No,
I'm not
GameCube
arguing.
is clearly the best.
It's the one, yeah.
Not arguing.
GameCube
Did you always do
Here
holding the Z trigger to make it do the funny animal noises?
Nope. Oh, look at it. Oh, come on. That is easily the best.
Oh, no, it's class. It's proper good. Yeah.
I can't believe he didn't say GameCube, Sean.
I'm a true Sega fan, Matt. One of us is a true Sega fan.
Oh, yeah. That's me out of the
Appreciation Society.
Bloody hell. Think of that.
What's the worst? Probably the original Xbox, right?
Oh, yeah.
The bobbling up and the green stuff.
Yeah, it was horrible, that.
Yeah, it felt like you were ill.
Fuck off. That's really funny, actually, because I'd never had a Dreamcast, but I played on a Dreamcast quite a bit because my friend had one. And I do remember that intro bit being actually that being quite cool. Mm. So I'd forgotten about that completely, but GameCube's the answer. It's the one.
Right, last one, because it's gone midnight, and I know James isn't here.
I'm going to do that all week now. I'm going to be sitting there. I'm going to wake up, look at Charlie in the morning, and just walk up to him and go, boobily bibbily bobbily boobily bobbily boom, boom.
I bet you can do 10 of them in a row, and it's the same every time.
No, but that's not the point, is it? You don't try and make them the same. You do it different every time because it's fun.
Have you seen? There is a YouTube video, isn't it, where it just goes on forever and ever and ever.
Oh, do you know do you know about the EA sports memes, Sean?
No.
You don't know about that? All right, I'll play you one. Hold on. So there's like a meme. Is it a meme?
It's a meme, yeah.
Where it's the intro.
Not that old, Dave. Bloody hell!
You know EA Sports games.
Is it a meme?
Is that what they call them?
Just discovered Pay Up Pump.
It's actually short for memory gene.
Is it a meme?
There's loads of
memes.
There's loads. I remember when they first started coming out, and old people would call, "Oh, it's one of those memes." You just went, what? Right, listen to this. Right, so there's loads of these versions of the EA Sports intro thing.
EA Sports. I'm in the game.
Right, okay, that was one. This is. Hold on, I gotta check these.
Unlock the next letter, please.
Right, okay, and this is one of my favourites.
E.
Yeah,
there's loads of them in a YouTube video, and some of them just completely. A lot of them are crap, but some of them just completely catch you off guard. It gets me every time. Okay,
nice. Right, last one because I'm tired. Edward Nigma has returned.
All right, James.
Do I have to do the voice?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He said...
Oh, God, it's a long one as well, wasn't it?
It's a long one.
This is going to be fun.
Says, do you know the definition of hubris? Hang on, why is Google Docs has just fucking scrolled away from it? Someone deleting stuff?
No, yeah, Matt's fucking around.
No, James, unless James has logged on to delete stuff.
No, Matt's fucking around. I see his cursor on there, go on.
For an example, look no further than Spoiler Bell. It's time, he offers. Matter of fact, as if knowing this would insult me to be known so nonchalant about being so clever. Try harder, he says again, mockingly, being very clever. Oh, Sean, oh, silly Sean, I don't need to try harder this time. You are wrong, Bell. Apologise for the many sins, foolish pride from a foolish man. You cannot begin to fathom my glee. A cat from Cheshire would be jealous. My smile is big, is what I'm trying to say. Hopefully you caught that. David laughs at the effort put in. Someone has to. Do you want me to read the quote? We can all do impressions. David was right, though. Sometimes there is more than one answer, and sometimes you need a specific one. Maybe you need more time to figure this one out. Also, carpet was clearly not the answer to that other riddle David spoke of. You need to be smarter to be right, like me. So again, to my riddle, maybe James can help, if he can be bothered. He can't, he's not even here.
He's not here.
The more you take of me, the more you leave behind. What am I? Hope you get it this time, because you'll never get another villain like me. Fact. And you'll never get another riddler like me. Someone who's basically a chilled-out puzzler. See you next week.
Yeah, that's a good line.
I don't. What can the other answer be?
You've admitted that this is the wrong. Look, if you're going to be the Riddler, you need to make sure that your riddles have one answer, not the one that you're thinking of.
You can't just like clearly the answer we've given works. You can't just go, no, not that one.
Also, I'm sure I've heard this before, and the answer was footprints.
You don't take a footprint, do you?
You don't take a footprint,
you take a step. Oh, it's something. No, you're probably right.
Steps.
Steps?
Do you leave steps behind?
No, you don't leave steps behind.
I did in the 90s, actually.
It's something to do with walking.
One for sorrow,
It is something to do with walking that you leave behind footprints or something. Oh, I'm sure it was this. I don't know. I'm sure the Riddler will come along next week and just put the same one again and think that he's done a good job this week. It was disappointing. You should look. We gave you a good answer to your original question. You take time, but if I take time, I leave it behind. I suppose that does work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if it is footprints,
no, I don't think that does.
Because taking time means using up more time and therefore leaving more of it behind you because more time has passed.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different one. Isn't there a riddle where it's like something about there's two sets of footprints and one disappears or some shit? And then the answer, that was it. That's it. No, the riddle was there's two sets of footprints side by side, but then one disappears. What happens? And I think the answer is that it's a dad and a child, and then the dad gives a piggyback or something. I remember that. Just
terrible riddle.
The fuck. It was another one of those the power in the lift one, Sean. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know, oh well. Okay, fine. Footprints in the sand. That's what I'm getting mixed up. Yeah, cheers. We haven't got an answer for you, I'm afraid. Let us know the answer on the next one, and then pick a good one.
I mean, I've just googled it.
Go on.
It is footsteps, but that doesn't work. You don't take. I suppose you need to take a step. You don't leave a footstep.
Well, I suppose you do.
Yeah, you leave a footprint.
But you leave a footstep behind, but in the past, which brings us back to our time answer.
Oh, look at those footsteps he's left.
No, but you leave them metaphorically back in the past, don't you? I guess.
You leave everything back in the past.
I knew I was onto the right thing with footsteps or footprint. I'm sure I've heard this one
bollocks,
before.
Though.
I know, riddles suck, but I want more of them from this guy. So
this one particularly.
Let's keep it going. Just give us a better riddle one with a real answer. Okay, that's it for questions?
That is it for questions.
Matt, do your thing.
Cool. This Friday, all things being well, we're going to try and do a Star Trek Bridge Crew stream.
If James can be bothered, if he can bloody be in the right country for once.
If James gets back, I mean, he's back, but the plan is this Friday at 9, unless anything changes. Obviously, at TCGS Co on Twitter if you want to see exactly what we're doing. But that's the plan. Friday night, Star Trek Bridge Crew. Sunday night at 8:00, I'm back for Super Mario. I'm going to get Super Mario Bros. Done. Sean may do the odd stream here and there lunchtimes. Go to but it's as and when really. So go to twitch.tv/TCGS Co or search for TCGS Co on Twitch, and you'll find us. Follow us there and set notifications so you'll know when we go live. If you miss a stream live, watch on YouTube, search for TCGS there. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/TCGS, and monthly podcast will probably be out next week. But there's our previous ones you can listen to. You can only listen to on Patreon. There's a talks over we've done. It's all on there. And TCGS Co for the store, for merch, for everything else.
Cool. And we will catch you next week. Well, I will not catch you next week. I'm off next week. But remember, this Saturday, it's mine and James's birthday. You know what to do.
It's not a trick. It's not a trick.
Send all your praise and happy birthdays to me. Don't mention James. It winds him up. We'll catch you next week. Goodbye. Thanks for living it. Goodbye.
Yeah. Oh, right. And thanks to everyone who sent me nice messages after we talked about the fact that I was getting harassed last week.
Yeah, it was nice, wasn't it?
Loads of people were very kind, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, but very nice. But just knock on the head now. We've had
that's enough. Don't want me to maybe I am the best, actually. Maybe that's...
okay. Matt's going to go, I've been getting slagged off as well.
I got a DM saying you smell. Bloody hell. True, actually.
Cheers.
We'll catch you. Goodbye.
Bye.